What's up guys, welcome to new Unreal Engine 5 tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to make a third-person shooter game. It will cover all the things that you need. Now, even though this tutorial is focused to beginners, if you are a total beginner, I recommend firstly checking my how to make your first game in Unreal Engine tutorial, which I will be linking in the description. Alright, with that said, this is going to be a very easy video to follow, so let's get started. Alright, so the first thing that we need to do is to create our project. In this case, I will be using the latest version of Unreal Engine 5.2. Now, of course, if a new version is out and you want to choose the latest one, go ahead. But if you just want to play it safe and go with my version, go ahead. Alright, so I'm going to go into the game section and choose our third-person template. That's going to be a third-person shooter. And here we're going to specify if we want blueprints or C++. In this case, it will be blueprints. And then we can leave pretty much everything as default. And this is desktop, maximum, and then make sure that we have started content on, as it will give us some handy materials and assets that we may use in the future. Then we need to specify the project location and then the project name. Okay, so now we can go ahead and you say create, and now we just have to wait a few seconds. Alright, the engine has opened, so now the first thing that I always like to do is to put my content browser bar anchored in the button, so it's always accessible. So we're just gonna go into window, go into content browser, and you select content browser 1, and we just appear. We can just drag the tab and just put it down, and there we go. Now, yes, it will be always there, and I just prefer it that way, you know. Alright, so now basically we hit play. As you may know from my how to make your first game in Unreal Engine tutorial, basically we just have our mannequin, we can just jump around, and there we go. So there are a few changes that we have to make into this. Now, it depends a bit on the locomotion motion that we want, but in this case we are actually gonna keep the main movement like this, basically a free camera. But basically when we aim, that's when it's gonna be different, and basically we will need to anchor the character to always be looking at where it is aiming, of course, if it makes sense. Now, first of all, I will want to import some assets that we need. This includes the animations that we're going to use for holding the gun, and then also the character model itself and the weapons. So, in this case, are going to be 3 free assets from the Unreal Engine Marketplace that I'm going to be linking in the description, and let me just show them. So the first one's going to be the animation starter kit. It is from Epic Games, completely free. I will be linking in the description. What you have to do is go ahead and add it into your library, and with that you will be good to go. It will have the animation that we need for our weapon. Then we'll need the stylized character kit. This will just be the character that we'll be using. Of course, later on, after the tutorial, we have finished it, you can change your own character and put the one that you want, but for the sake of this one, I think this one looks pretty cool, so I will use it. And then last but not least, we'll be using the FPS weapon bundle, which is just a free pack for weapons. I will be using one of those. So with that said, go ahead and basically download them. They're free into your Epic Games library, and let's go ahead and import them. So to import them, what we have to do is open our Epic Games launcher, and we're gonna go into the library section, and then we go down over here. You will see that we have all the assets. So if you just search the animation starter pack, you will see it here. We can click this button to add it into our project, and now if we search our project, we'll find it here. Now we'll have a warning that it is not compatible with the latest version, which in this case 5.1, but don't worry about that. Use the latest version, which in my case is 5.0, and it will work the same. So just add it into the project. So now you will see that it will begin to download and install into the project. So basically now you just have to wait a few seconds. Hopefully it will be a bit quick. Let's see. Alright, so it has installed. As you can see, the button is now available again. So let's search the next pack, which was the stylized character kit. So do exactly the same, just add it into the project. Go select the latest version, add to project. And now let's go ahead and wait a few seconds. Alright, so now that has installed. So now we have to do the latest one, which was the weapon bundle. So again, add it to the project, shooter, the latest version, which is, in this case, it's actually 4.27, but again, there won't be an issue. Okay, I have done this many times before with this pack. Add it to project and wait a few seconds. Alright, so we have everything installed. We can now close the Epic Games launcher And if we go back, you can see that we have a few basically new folders available from our animation starter pack with all the animations that we're going to be using with our character pack. So you can see in here, for example, go to models, all the different parts, and then also lastly in where is it, the FPS weapon bundle with all the animations that, well, sorry, meshes that we can use for our gun. So let's just begin by applying the animations into our character, okay, and then we'll add the gun, and then finally we'll add the character into it. So the first thing I'm going to do is go into the anim starter pack, and you'll see that we have a whole bunch of animations in here. Well, let's go ahead and just gonna make this a bit bigger so I can have a better view, and let's just go ahead and find the idle animation. And in this case we have a few different options. In this case I'm gonna be using a rifle, so I'm gonna go into more of the rifle animations instead of the pistol, okay? And basically we have the idle rifle hip, and then we have the iron sight. Basically I'm gonna be using these two animations for our normal standing and then aiming, so we're gonna also select this both. Now there's a problem with these animations, and the things are there for the old Unreal Engine 4 skeleton, so we have to basically right click, go into retarget, and duplicate and retard them. So in here we have the option to use an IK retargeter, which will be already included in the template, and we can convert them from UE4 to UE5. And with that, as you can see, it will basically go from UE4 to UE5. You say retarget, and then in a few seconds we have them all here with the new UE5 skeleton, as you can see, perfectly fine. So we have a few more animations that we need. Of course we'll need the walk and jog. Now in this case I'm gonna go directly into the jog because we will not be able to walk. It's gonna be a bit more simpler, okay? So in this case we have a few options, but best going to go into the jog forward rifle. Just right click, go into retarget and duplicate and retarget. Again, choose from UE4 to UE5, retarget. And then lastly we'll just need the basically the shoot. I think it was called fire, yes. So I will be using the iron sight, okay, which will be for the one of the rifle. Just right click, again retarget from UE4 to UE5, and there we go. So now we have all the animations that we need. We're gonna go ahead and just right click and create a folder so everything is nice and easy and organized. So it's gonna be like shooter animations, okay, and let's go ahead and select them, drag them to shooter animations, select move here, and there we go. So what we have to do right now is create something, right clicking onto animation and legacy, a blank space 1D. So and here we have to select our skeleton. In this case it will be the SK mannequin, okay? So it's one, you can search for mannequin, make sure that you use the one that just says SK mannequin, which is the new one. Then we can just go ahead and call this the shooter blank space 1D if you want. And let's open this up. So now we put this here, we have a few options. So let's open the horizontal axis. And the first thing that we want to do is change the name into speed, and then put the maximum value into 500. Basically, this timeline will allow us to change between animations depending on a value. In this case, we'll use this to change the animations depending on the player's speed. So we'll have the idle animation here and the jog animation here. As the speed increases, it will be transitioning from that idle into the jog, and you will see that we'll have really cool. We'll end up with a pretty cool result. So basically, in the maximum value, we have to put our maximum speed that our character will be able to walk or jog or whatever. In this case, by default, it's set to 500 in the blueprint, so we'll put the same in here. So now we can go ahead and find our idle animation. In this case, it was the idle rifle hip. Okay, make sure you select the hip, not the iron sight, because the iron sight will be for our aiming. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and insert the jog. And now we have the jog with the rifle, just put it at the end. So now if we hold control and move it along the timeline, you can see that as the speed increases, our animation will change smoothly, and it's just perfect what we want. Now, what we can do is also go and search for weight, and just put a tiny weight, like 10, so the transitioning will be even a bit smoother. You can play with that later on, but that will be great for us. So the blank space is done. We can close this and just create now the animation blueprint. I can also go ahead and make this smaller. So right click, go into animation blueprint. Again, we have to search our mannequin skeleton, which will be just be the SK mannequin. Now create ABP underscore and this will be just, for example, shooter. And let's just open this up. Of course, you can put whatever names you want. I'm just putting shooter because it's just gonna be good for us, but you can put whatever you want. Basically, as you may know, in the animation blueprint, we can put the animations that we want and the conditions that we have to play them and so on. So let's go into the asset browser. If you don't see, you can just go into window and it should be as a browser here. And now we can go ahead and find our shooter blank space that we have just created. Now let's go ahead and before plugging this in here, we're gonna add another node, which is gonna be the default slot. This will allow us, as you may know from other my tutorials, to play an animation from a blueprint with an animation montage. So make sure you add that, and then basically in the blank space we have to change that. Right now if we compile, you can see that's playing the idle animation, but if I were to put this to 500 just to show you and compile, it's now jogging. Basically we have to change this, let's put it back to 0, and dynamically depending on the player's speed in the game while playing the game. So let's right click, promote to variable, so now will be a variable called speed, and let's go into the band graph. So in here what we can do is get the velocity from the owner of this blueprint, well, animation blueprint, and then we can use this node called the vector length, so it can be converted from a vector into a nice float. So use a number that we can plug into our speed. So now basically in the update it will be getting the velocity from the owner and then going ahead and, well, converting this to a nice float and just passing it into the variable. So now if we save and go back to the third person map, we have to do one more last thing, and it's that we have to go into our third person blueprints and open our third person blueprint character, go into the viewport and select our character mesh over here. So now what we can do is change the name class into our new, here it is, shooter class. And now you'll see that we have it here. If we press play, you can see now we can go ahead and move with our animations like we have. Great, something is going ahead and working. Now let's go ahead and we can actually close the animation loop from now, and let's add our animation, our weapon in our hand, because right now it's just walking with an empty weapon, right? Empty hands. So let's go into our weapon bundle, let's go into weapons, and we go into meshes. Now we have a few options here that we can choose, right? I think the one we're going to be choosing is going to be the AR4, which is just going to be a simple rifle, as you can see. Now we have different things over here. We have different options from a skeleton mesh into a static mesh. The difference between the skeleton mesh and a static mesh in this example with the weapon is that, well, the static mesh will just be the model itself, okay? The model itself. But the skeleton mesh will contain the model itself with some bones. And the thing is that we want the bones. And you're probably wondering why. Well, because we will want the, where is it? It's gonna be this point right over here, which will just be the tip of the weapon. The thing is that this point, we'll basically use this point to spawn our bullets. So that's why we want to use the skeleton, because it will contain already this point that we can use to spawn our bullets. So let's go ahead and close this, and we'll have this skeleton mesh here, which is the one that's gonna be used. So sk_AR4, okay? Let's see if we remember. So now what we have to do is go and add a socket into our skeleton. So you'll see why in a second. So let's go into characters, and we can go into the mannequins folder and open up meshes, and you'll see the sk mannequin skeleton. Let's open this up. So basically like this, we can add a socket and basically apply our weapon here. Now for this properly, what we're going to do is go up here into preview animation and put our idle animation. So if it doesn't crash, which please don't crash, there we go, we can now type jog and search our jog forward animation. So I can just pause this, and now we can place our, well, actually instead of jog, it would just better with just the idle animation, honestly, which, oh, this is mesh animation, idle, and it's gonna be the hip, okay, the hip. And with that, now we're gonna go into the right hand. So in this case, this is left hand. We go a bit down, you'll see the hand R. In here is right click, add a socket. So this will be created. I just rename this into the right hand, and then we can just call this rifle. Now if I right click in this object, we can now add a preview asset. In this case, it will be the sk_, AR4, which is the one that I said before, and it's a skeleton mesh. Very important, that is that one. So now we can start rotating this and placing it in position so it will align into our character. And with that should pretty much be good. Now I'm gonna be placing this pretty damn fast, okay? So if you want to put more detail and attention into it, you can do so. Alright, I'm right now just kind of putting it like this. So I'm gonna put this into 5 degrees. Alright, so if you want to put more time into it to make it look a bit nicer, go ahead. I'm just gonna do it like that. I think that's pretty nice, honestly. I'm not gonna lie. For me, that will pretty much work. Well, let me just do one last thing. Let me select this once again. Alright, there we go. I think that, yeah, that will work good for me, okay? So if you want to put my location, you can see this here, and the same with the rotation, and that will work for me. We can use save. Now the things that now we press play, you see that it's not here, and the things that this socket is really just empty in our skeleton. This is just a preview, okay, of where we want to place that socket. So what we need to do is go back into our blueprint and select the mesh and add a skeleton mesh. Very important that this is child of our mesh, and this will just be our rifle. So now we can just go into parent socket and now find our I don't know even how to talk, RH rifle socket that we have, and now you will see that it will place in the position. So now we can search our SK underscore AR4, and now it will be placed in the exact position that we set on here. So close that, and now very important, go down and make sure that the collision preset is set to no collision. Very important. So now if we compile and save and press play, you can see that now we have a weapon and everything is working as intended. Great. So that was our first step of our tutorial. Now we are gonna go ahead and move on into applying our character which we imported, which is gonna be Luke. So let's go ahead and do so. Alright, so let's go ahead and place our character in here instead of our mannequin. Now I did just realize, okay guys, that basically this character is actually using the old UE4 skeleton, so we didn't have to retard some of the animations and so on. But hey, it's what we did. Hey, you learned something to retard it. Cool. Now let's go ahead and do the same but inversely. Sorry about that. But so what we're going to do is go into our shooter animations, and let's get our animation blueprint in here that we created earlier, and we can actually just right click and retarget the whole animation blueprint. In here it's gonna be from UE5 to UE4. So basically we could say that we're basically dumb. We are just upgraded for nothing to downgrade again. It's okay. Now in here choose our mesh. In this case, let's see, we have this guy is already pre-made. Okay, so we have different parts of the body because we can basically customize them, or we have already some pre-made. Of course, going to be using the pre-made. In my case, I'm gonna be using I guess that this one looks pretty cool, mesh PC03. As you can see, that's gonna be good. We can, because it's gonna be the same skeleton, we can now change the mesh later on easily, so that's gonna be good. So now we can just say retarget, and there we go, we have everything changed and retargeted. In my case, gonna go into shooter animations, a new folder, and call this UE5, and put all of them in here. So move that there, and now we can get our new ones and just move it inside shooter animations, and like that. That's great. So now we can go back into our third person thing and basically just search our character that I chose, which was this one, and you can see that right now, if it has the same animation blueprint, it's like squashed. Look at it. I mean, of course, if you want to make a fun game, right, and have like characters like that, well, go ahead, but you know, in my case, I'm gonna change that. Basically now we can select this new one and put it, and you can see that now is correctly done. Of course, the weapon, now we have to sign it again, but that's okay. Now, I think I'm going to do is go and open the animation blueprint I'm gonna change the default mesh into the actual character because I like to have also my animations to preview that. Great, so sorry about that. Okay guys, but now we have it like that, so now it's basically resolved. So sorry about that. Alright, so now everything is working. We just have to go again and place also our rifle in the UE4 skeleton. So we can just go ahead and find this, open this up, and go into the skeleton section. And then we just have to do the same, so preview animation, and it's gonna be the idle rifle hip. Close this, and also gonna change the preview mesh, so it just matches the mesh just in case something changes, but it's pretty much the same stuff. Go down into our hand R, right click, add socket, HR, RH, right hand, and then rifle. Again, right click, then add preview asset, so it helps us to place it. Was sk_AR4, and then go ahead and put that like that. Sorry about that inconvenience. I did not realize this character was actually in UE4, in the UE4 skeleton. Sorry about that. But hey, you learned about retargeting. You did it 2 times. Now you're a master of retargeting too. Alright, so kind of like that, I think that it will work. I'm gonna actually disable a bit that, help me to place it, and this will just work good for me. Okay, I'm gonna kind of place him more in the trigger maybe, but that will work great for me. You can play with your placement, but it's gonna be my values, so you can copy them, paste them. I'm gonna put back that to 10, and I can save, close this, and go back to the rifle, and now select back the parent socket with the rifle, and now that will be now fine, as you can see. Sorry about the inconvenience, but now this is resolved. Alright, so now let's continue on, and what we're going to implement is going to be the aiming. Let's go ahead and close this, and let's go ahead and aim. Alright, so now let's get our aiming animation. In this case, let's go back into our shooter animations, UE5, and we had our rifle, well, also the shoot itself. So we have the shoot and the iron sight, which is gonna be our aiming. So let's select those animations, and then right click, retarget, duplicate and retarget, and again from UE5 to UE4, and we can also just get them from the anime started pack, but with this I can just go ahead and directly change their mesh in here into our one that we chose. So I just prefer to do that way, and then we can change the folder to be in our shooter animations. And with that, I can just say retarget, and now we have them here. I can actually go ahead and change the name. So instead of idle rifle iron sight, it's gonna be just aim. There we go. And then the same with the, well, actually that was shoot, right? No, that's aim. Okay. And this one is shoot. Okay. So go ahead and select that, and then I'm gonna put shoot, even though it says fire at the start, but doesn't matter. Fire, shoot, it will just clarify things out. Alright, so let's go into the aiming kind of system. So what we're going to do is go and open our AVP shooter, which honestly I don't know why I did not update the mesh, even though I set it to. So let me quickly go and change it. I just prefer to have like that. Doesn't matter. It doesn't change, but it's okay. And let's open our animating graph over here. So the thing is that now we cannot just do it outside, because we have to create different states. We will have a state for our locomotion, which is the one that we have right now, from our idle to jog, and then another state which will be aiming. So just right click and create a new state machine. There you go. And this will be our locomotion. Basically, what we're going to do is get this 2 nodes and use Ctrl X. So we're gonna copy them, well, cut them. Now let's open this, and here we can create a new state. This will be the idle and jog. And now we can just double click and put our animation there. Now it will be broken for 2 seconds, but what we can do is just connect it back, and now you'll see that it's fixed. Now go back here, and we can add another state, and this will be basically aiming. Now for this, what we have to do is also create a variable. So this will be is aiming. Let's put this symbol at the end, so we know this is a boolean, and of course set it to a boolean because it will be true or false. So now what we can do is just go ahead and grab the border of this icon and just drag it towards the arrow and jog state. And let's do the same but the other way around to our aiming. And then what we can do is double click our aiming state and pass on the aim animation. In this case it will be here. Just drag it, plug it there, and then we can select this aim animation and just say loop. And make sure that you have a loop, because if not it will finish and stop. Now of course we'll have some errors if we compile because the transitions are empty. So let's go ahead and choose the one from idle to aiming, the one that has the arrow upwards. Let's double click in here and let's just pass that aiming is true. If you just basically plug it like this, that will mean that it's true. Now we have an error remaining because we have to do the other way around. Let's double click, and in this case the condition will be if it's not, and let's pass this node, which is the not boolean, and basically that will mean that it's not true. And now with that it will work. So if I were to select aiming and enable this, you can see that it went to aim, and if I disable this it goes back into position. So everything going ahead and working cool. Now what we can do is just save and basically go into the event graph, because now the thing is that we will need to change this aiming variable depending if we're aiming or not in the game. Now let's go quickly and first of all set all that in our third person character. Let's go into event graph, and the thing is that we have to implement the functionality for aiming. Okay, so basically from the input to zooming in the camera and then passing that value into our animation blueprint. So let's go quickly into our third person map. Let's go into the content and let's go into our third person folder, because let's go into input and add a new input action. Right click, input action. It's gonna be EA underscore, and then this will be basically aim, if I know how to spell it correctly. There we go, aim. And actually we don't have to even open this up. That will be with the values as default, but we have to go back and add it into our collection. So here we have a list of all the actions. Let's just add the one that we have just created, aim, and here is where we pass our basically key that we want. So you just press this button, and now you can press whatever key you want on your keyboard or mouse. In this case it will be the right mouse button, so I'm gonna just press it, and you can see that now that will be assigned. Save and close. Let's go back in third person character. Just right click and do EA underscore aim, and make sure that they choose the one with the arrow. Okay, it's gonna be the node that we're gonna be using. So basically we're gonna be using the started and completed. That will mean when it has begun to be pressed and it has been stopped to be pressed. So what we have to do in here is first of all pass that value into our shooter. So let's create also a variable here, which is going to be exactly the same. Basically just is aiming as a boolean, and let's set it, and here in started it will be true. But let's copy and paste this, and completed it will be false. So now what we can do is go back in ABB shooter and grab that basically information. So I'm gonna use this other node, which is gonna be the, if I know how to type, the event blueprint initialize animation. This is gonna be like the start, okay, the begin play of our animation. So now I can get the try get pawn honor node, and now just go ahead and cast to our third person character. And now with that I can just go ahead and right click and promote this, and this will be our character BP for blueprint. And now what I can do in the update is just get our character blueprint that we have and just right click and convert this into a validated get, just to make sure that this character right now is our third person character, and we will not have any errors if we are using other blueprints with this same animation blueprint, if it makes sense. Because if we cast into, for example, our enemy class, right, when we do our enemy and we're using the same animation blueprint, well, it will give us an error. So let's go ahead and do that to make sure. And now from that we can just get is aiming the boolean that we just created, and then we can just go ahead and assign it from the one that we created earlier. So now that will depend on if we are aiming or not. So now if we press play, you can see that if I hold, I can aim, and if I stop holding, it will stop aiming. So everything is gone ahead and working as we want. Now we have a problem, and it's that of course if we are aiming and walking at the same time, the feet doesn't move. Of course we'll go ahead and fix that shortly, but let's go ahead and basically zoom in the camera a bit. Now there's another thing that I want to make by default, even when we're standing, and of course is have our camera a bit more into the right, into the shoulder, as it will give us like actual some angle to aim, because we cannot see anything right now with our player in front. So there are many ways to do so, but we can just go into viewport and select the camera boom, which is the one that will control basically the camera with target, the length, and so on. And the thing is that we can add a socket offset, and we can go into the Y vector and just put, for example, 50. And we'll start to move it, as you can see, into the right. Now I don't know if 50 is too less, so let's do 100. And this is just basically just playing with values to get what you want. Definitely that's a lot. Let's do maybe 60. Maybe that's a bit better. And that's a bit better, but maybe too much. This is just playing with values, okay? I don't know what we could do. Maybe 50 actually. That's a bit better. I think that's a bit better. we can deal with that. Anyway, we'll see. All right. So with that done, now we have to zoom in the camera and zoom in out when we are doing so. So we can do that with the arm length. So in here, if I go and get the when we are start to aim, and get the camera boom, and then set the length to, instead of be, which is right now 400, to let's say 120, and then put it back to 400 when we stop aiming and connect the camera boom, you can see that it will work, right? And we also have to pull it a bit up, but you can see that it's instant, and it isn't a very good, it doesn't feel very good. We want a nice transition. So what we can do is actually also close the animation blueprint. What we can actually do is delete these two nodes. Let's put this here, and let's do a timeline. So we can lerp from one value into another one with time. So just go ahead and add a timeline node, and this will be our aim timeline. Okay, let's just put that over there. And then in this case, we are just gonna plug that from play, and then this one from reverse, because we will be able to use one timeline for both. And by just reversing the other side, we will get the opposite, feeling. I don't know, the word didn't come up, and to go back to the other state. So now we can just double click in this and add a flow track. In this case, this will be our camera arm length, because that's the thing that we're gonna be changing. And the length is gonna be basically the time that this is gonna take, and in my case it's gonna be 0.3 seconds, but we'll see what is better for us. You might think 0.3 seconds too quick, but you'll see that's actually not. Now just right click in any place and just add 1 point, and we're gonna set the time to be 0 and value to 0, because it's gonna be the first point. Now we want to add another point, and the time will be 0.3, because when the animation will finish, and then the value into 1. Just press these two buttons so it's nice and clear, and you can see it's just a nice ramp of constant speed up. So now we can just get this and do a lerp node, and this will lerp from 2 points. Now let's go ahead and hold Ctrl and move this point into the alpha, because we're gonna be from changing 2 points, which is gonna be 400 to 120, because it's gonna be the target arm length is right now into the one that we want. And now we want to pass that into our new arm length in the update, and you can see that that will basically go ahead and work perfectly, which is what we want. So now if I press play and I hold, you can see now we have a nice transition. You can see that 0.3 seconds is not a lot. Actually, I might need to make it a bit even faster, so we might need to play with that. But basically right now, as you can see, it also goes into the center of the character, and we don't want that. So actually a thing that we can go ahead and change is, because we also have the opportunity to change the target, right? And they'll basically change the target offset instead of the the one there. But what we need to do is change the height. So we go into here, you can put like 50 or something, and that will be higher. And now when we zoom in, that's a bit better. I mean, way better. Maybe 120 is too much, so of course you can play with that values, but maybe 170 will be better. You know, like I said, this is just doing stuff. Now let me just go ahead and select all this, press C to command this, and then call this the aim system, so we know what it's doing. Now another thing I'm going to do is select this node, because I really like the color. You select the common color, and now we can just get the new color and just drag it into here, and that will just create a preset. So now here in the other comment, I can just go ahead and apply that preset. As you can see, that's nice and beautiful. Great, so everything working correctly. So we have our aiming animation done. When we aim, and our camera is zooming in and out. Great, so let's go ahead and control the feet not moving. So what we're going to do is basically split the body in two. Literally, that's what we're going to do. So there are many things doing this, but what we're going to do is just go, actually have tutorials and everything that I'm doing. So this is just joined to one to create a cool third-person game, of course. But basically what we're going to do is go into shooter animations and open our ABP shooter, okay? Which is right now here, and then the one that I'm using. I don't know why the character replaces each time, but it doesn't matter. He won. Let's go back into the ending graph. Actually, sorry, the locomotion and aiming state. So in here, what we can do is use this node, which is the blend bone, layers blend per bone. This will allow us to basically split the body in half for a certain bone and play an animation for one side and another. In this case, our aim will be in the second one, because that's going to be the one on top, but the one below will be our locomotion. So what we can do in here is basically go here and create a cache, but we can literally just pass our shooter blend space again and just pass the speed, which is what we're going to do. So that will not give us an error, but split the body in two. Now there's another thing that we have to do, and of course is select this and specify the bone. So just add one in here, and let's go into the skeleton, and now we can choose the one that we want. In my case, I'm gonna say spine 1. So let me just go ahead and go into details, copy the bone name because it has to be exact, and paste it. Basically, one side, the lower part of the body will be playing the normal jog animations, and the other one, and then the other part of the body, which will be the upper one, will be playing the aiming. So now you can see that when I aim, everything seems normal, but when I aim and walk, the animations in the lower part still go ahead and play. Now you can see that it may move a bit too much the body, but for now this will work, okay? We might change that in the future. Now let's go ahead and do another change. And what I want to do is basically make sure that if I'm standing still, I can go ahead and rotate my body when I'm aiming only, right? Because right now, if I want to shoot behind, it's kind of like weird because I'm aiming forward. I don't like that. Of course, when I'm walking, that's good. But what we're going to do is go into third-person character blueprint. We can close the other stuff and go into the aim. And before we do the timeline and stuff, we're gonna set some things up. So the first thing I'm going to do is select the character movement component, and we have this option which is basically, what was it? Movement. It was align character to movement. Character. Well, it is here. Let me just see what was the name. Orient rotation to movement. So basically, we have. I'm gonna set it. I'm gonna be disabling this because right now, while we're aiming, we don't want our character to orientate where it's moving, but where it's looking. So we can use the other one, which is, it was here. Use controller desired rotation. So set use controller desired rotation, and this will allow us to basically, we can just double click to make this a bit better, like that. There we go. This will just allow us to control the rotation depending on where we're looking. So now if I were to aim, as you can see, even though I'm not moving, the character is aiming where we are looking. This is exactly what we want. Now, of course, right now, if I stop aiming, we are like that the whole time, so we want to stop that. And of course, this is a type of movement. This is the strafe type of movement, so if you want to just play the game like that, you can do so, but you have to set another type of animation blueprint with different feet going backwards, left and right, and it's a bit more of a headache. But if you want to go ahead and do so, I do have a tutorial on that, which is the strafe movement. So I'll be also linking in the description just in case you want to go ahead and see that. But basically, I'm gonna set it back to normal. So let's just copy these two nodes and just put them here, put them in reverse, and then it's gonna be the other type. So go back into orient to movement, so click that and uncheck that. And now we need to get our character movement, and of course remember to set up the pins, because not, well, it will give us an error because this is from the character movement. With that, everything should be set to work. So I can go ahead and aim, walk around, stop, go back to normal, aim again. Everything is basically working like a charm. I'm pretty happy right now. Now, what we have to do right now is, of course, go ahead and start setting up the shooting. And we're actually pretty much advancing pretty fast, I'm gonna say. So we will need basically right now to basically do that. Now, I think I'm gonna do first is actually set that our character will basically look up or down, which is very important. So let's go ahead and do so. Alright, so let's set up the aim offset. So let's go into our folder with all the shooter animations here. And what I'm going to do is right click, go into animation, and I'm going to go into the aim offset. Now we also have the 1D aim offset, which is the one that we want to use because only one direction, which is up and down. So it's selected. Now again, set the mannequin skeleton. Actually not. I nearly made the same mistake. Okay, we want to use the skeleton from our basically our character. So just to make sure, I'm gonna search it, and then where is it? I can go and look at it. So it's basically gonna be this one, this SK mannequin, which is gonna be from the casual folder. Okay, so I'm gonna actually copy the name, and let's do the same, but go into shooter animations. All right, go back here, legacy, aim offset. Go and paste it, and you can see we have two. One will be from casual, another thing from a starter pack. So we want to choose the one from casual. All right, so AO underscore shooter, basically aim offset shooter. Let's open this up. So now in the horizontal axis, we need to change some values. In this case, this will be the pitch because it will be up and down. The minimum axis will be 90 degrees and the maximum 90 degrees. I'm gonna say snap to grid, so it's easier for us later to place it. Now, what we have to do in here is basically, where is it here? Additive settings. We have to go ahead and play this aim offset as an additive animation. So it will play on top of already existing animations, because if not, it will just replace everything, and we don't want that. We only want to get like the rotation of our body. So in here, we have to find our idle animation. In this case, you find our idle animation. It's gonna be here with our character. It's gonna be the rifle hip. Okay, let's go ahead and save that, and we can now just continue on. So what we want to do now is also just create a folder with aim offsets. It's gonna be just easier for us. Let's just drag this in here. So move here. And what we're going to do now is get our idle rifle hip and duplicate it. And this will be our basically aim underscore forward. Okay? Because we're going to be doing a pose. Let's go ahead and drag it into the aim offset here. And just open the aim forward. Basically, we will need 3 different poses. We will need one looking forward, one looking down, and one looking up. So later on in the aim offset that we created, we can interpolate between them as we did with blend space, but with different poses. So to convert this into a pose, we need to get rid of all the keyframes. So let's go into the first point, just right click and say remove frame 1 to frame 190. And you can see that now it will not move. If you want, you can try that again, just in case. Remove frame 1 to 2, and it will not move. Now it moves a bit, don't worry about that, okay, don't go crazy. But try to remove all the keyframes so it doesn't move. But if it like vibrates a bit, don't worry about that. Now what to do is add an additive animation. Again, this animation needs to play on top of that. So it's going to be a mesh space and scaled. And now we want to find our idle hip animation. It's save, let's close. And now we need to duplicate this, and this will be our aim. And let's do the up, for example. Let's open this, and you can see that's what I was saying, like vibrating. Don't worry if that happens, just go here, right click, remove frame to 1 to 2. But if it continues to vibrate, don't worry. This is actually because we have added the additive animation, so it's playing on top. So it's actually some keyframes from the additive animation, so don't worry about that. So now let's go in skeleton tree. And the thing is that we have to select, for example, the spine 1 and rotate it to be looking up. It's tricky, but it's what we have to do. Now you can see that basically the forward is a bit rotated, especially when the spine is looking. We want to change that into the weld. So basically it will be getting the actual forward from our actor, from the feet, not the one from our spine. Very important, because now if not it will rotate it incorrectly. So let's put this into the kind of globe symbol, and now what we can do is go like from an angle view and just rotate it up as we want. In my case, I'm gonna do 60 degrees. Well, minus 60 degrees, okay? Like that. You can do however you want. Let's save, let's close, and I forgot one thing. I forgot one thing, sorry about that. Let's go back here, skeleton 3, spine 1, and what was it? Change back into the weld, and then minus 60. And then we have to basically press this button, which will add a key. If not, it will just overwrite everything. It will not save. Now you can see that it's back there, and if we open that back, it's aiming up. So I forgot to just press the button. Make sure you press the button. Let's now get the aim forward and duplicate it again, but this time it will be the aim down. Let's open this again. Again, doesn't matter. Just try to remove the frames, but it's because of the additive animation, so don't worry about that. Let's look into the angle, select spine 1, and put it into the weld rotation, so it's forward from its feet, not its spine bone. And then basically aim it 60 degrees now forward. And with that, you can just press the key, save, and close. And now we open again, is aiming down. Great, so now we can just open our aim offset, and now we can go and get our aim down and put it into the left of everything, aim up into the right of everything, and aim forward into the middle. Now you can see that as I hold Control, the character will look down, up, into the middle, perfectly fine, super smooth, what we want. Now let's go ahead and close that, and now open our animation blueprint. Let's close this. I don't know why that says read only. Honestly, I don't know what's happening, but let's go into an in graph. And now what we want to do is, after the default slot, because it will overwrite everything, we want to get our AO shooter from our asset browser. Just drag it. Let's put that into the base pose and just put that into the output pose. Now, an alpha, we want to leave that at 1, so just don't touch it, but our pitch is what we want to change. If I put this at 90, as you can see, it will now be aiming up. And the same with minus 90. So we want to change it, again, like we did with the speed, dynamically while we play the game. So right click, promote to variable, and this will be our pitch. And now what I want to do is go into a event graph and basically make some code. Now you can see, I don't know why I just opened an external graph for some reason. Just double click in your event graph if that happens to you too. I don't know what happened. I never seen that before, honestly. Alright, so now basically, after that, before we actually go and do the aim, because this will apply for all characters, it doesn't matter if it's the same actor. What we want to do is basically just get the owner, so just go ahead and paste that real quick again. Now let me put it like that. Actually, what we can do is just do a sequence. So the first time, the first output it will do this, and the second output will do some things here. And what we have to do here is basically get the base aim rotation. Okay, so this will basically give us, if we're aiming, basically the degrees that we're aiming up, down, to the left, to right, and stuff. Just right click it and split it so we can get all the individual actors, and of course we want to touch the pitch. So let's get the other stuff and let's do a branch over here. So the first thing that we want to do is to basically get our pitch, and then make sure well, basically check that if it's basically greater or equal than 180. Let's put that into our branch. If so, we want to get our pitch and basically set it in the true to be to get our pitch, and then basically decrease it by 360. This will just basically keep it in range from -90 to 90, and just apply it here. But if it's false, what we want to do is just basically get it from our direct output from the pitch, because it will be in range. And with that said, that will basically work. So everything works as normal, as you can see, as always, aiming. But now, if I look down, our character is looking down. If I look up, our character is looking up. And the same with the aim, as you can see. So there we go. Everything is going ahead and working as we want. The aim offset is go ahead and set it up. So now we can go ahead and move into the actual shooting. So let's go ahead and do so. Alright, so let's set up our shooting system. So let's just close the animation blueprint and just open our third person character blueprint. Now let's do the same that we did with the aim. Basically create a new input. So let's go into third person, input, actions, right click, and input, action. It's gonna be EA underscore, basically just fire, we can say, instead of shoot, which is a bit more correct. And again, we don't have to really do anything, so we can just close it. Now let's go into the collection and let's do the same with the other one. Basically add a mapping and select our fire. I know why it opens the other one. And now in fire, just select this key, and now we can just press the left mouse button. So it will be assigned. Of course, you can go ahead and search it here, but for me, it's just easier to click this button, you know. Alright, so with that done, we can just go here and do our EA underscore fire. Again, the one with the arrow symbol. So again, this is not a shotgun or a pistol, this is a rifle. So what we have to do is, while we hold our input, we have to be shooting in a loop, right? But for now, what we're going to do is just set it so it will just basically fire once. Of course, when we have the logic of shooting, we'll implement that loop that is while we are holding instead of just clicking once, okay? Because it's a rifle. But for the sake of just making the logic, for now, we just make it so it just once. So there are many methods of basically firing and shooting and so on in games, right? We have the method of physical 3D bullets that fly across the scene, or line traces, which is a line trace is basically just an invisible line, like a right cast that will go from one point and another. And from my experience of making firearms in Unreal Engine, for me it works better with line traces. It just feels much better. But for things such as arrows and with a bow or grenades, of course, a physical object with a velocity will work better. But for the sake of my experience with line traces, which is an invisible line that will go from A to B, will just work better. So let's get from started and do a line trace by channel. The starting point of this line will basically be our rifle. As you may remember from the beginning of the tutorial, I explained that we're going to be using this bone that we can use to spawn our bullets, and which is the one that we want. And I think that was the one that we want here. So basically beacon muzzle flash. So let's just go into the details and just copy the name because it has to be exact. Alright, and we can just get the rifle component and you say get socket, and we just get the transform of that socket. So we'll get the location, rotation, and scale. In this case, we can put the name, and then about the transform space, it has to be actor, I believe. I'm not exactly sure. We'll test it in a second. Now for this, right click, so we just split it into the location, rotation, and scale, and here we want to put our location. Now for the rotation, we want to basically get the forward vector so we know where it is aiming right now, right? Where it's looking forward. And now we can just multiply it by a value. So just right click and convert this into a float, single precision. So this will be the distance that our bullet will travel. Now, of course, this is important. This will determine a lot of your gameplay functionality, right? How far will your bullets travel and how far will you be able to hit the enemies? Now, this is up to you, but for now I'm gonna be putting around 3,000. It is not a lot for a firearm, but like you said, I'm gonna be playing with the values as we go, and of course you can do so. Now let's get the location and just add that with our vector here, and with that will work. So the trace channel will be visibility, and let's just put this for duration so we can preview our line. Okay, so you will see how it works, and we'll also see if the RTS actors what we want or we need another transform space. So if I just aim and shoot, as you can see, we're not seeing anything, and probably wait, why it's not shooting? Wait, let me just print to make sure the input is going okay. Yeah, okay, you can see hello in here, so that's good. And I did set this for duration, so honestly I don't know why right now I'm not seeing I'm not seeing that. Maybe it's because I had to set this in world. Let me just check. Yeah, so basically, as you can see right now, we're shooting, but basically it's going in a very bad direction. Basically it's going always into the it's going basically always into the left of the bullet, right, of the arm. It's going to the left. So what we can do is just quickly check out the component transform space. Let's see if that will work for us. No, that will not work for us. And I checked the last one, just parent bone socket. That will also not work. So the one that we want is the component. Component. Or what? No, it was world, right? Sorry about that. It was world. Yeah, it was world. But we want to change what it's looking. So let me quickly see in the bone where it's actually aiming. All right, yeah, you can see the things are changed actually. So what we want is to get the Z, because the Z is looking forward. Because normally in games, if I go here, you can see that the well, in this case it's actually the Y, but normally it's the X is what is looking forward, right? And that's normally how it goes. But in this case, it is changed for some reason. Okay, they created it like that, and it's with the Z axis. So actually, that will mean that we need to, instead of get the forward vector, get the up vector, because the Z is the up vector. And with that, that should go ahead and fix the issue. So press play. As you can see, there we go. Now is going ahead and shooting forward, as you can see. Now, right now, that is good, but I don't like that. Why I don't like what we just did? The thing is that right now, even though it's shooting correctly, it's not really always going into the center of the screen. And let me show that with a simple widget. So also it will work for the future. So I just create a user interface, widget blueprint, user widget, WB underscore. Let's just name this the HUD. You search a canvas and you press here. So what we're going to do is just create the aim target, right? I don't know how you actually name it. Just drag an image, set the anchors in the center, and put the position X and Y to 0. Put the alignment to 0.5 and 0.5. And just put the size to be like 10 maybe, yeah, pretty small. And then just change the brush on here to be a circle. In this case, we have actually an anchor, so that will work for us. So what we have to do now is basically in the character, in the begin play, basically create that widget. So you can just use this node, which is create widget, and we can just find the HUD and just add to the viewport. So add into the screen, right? With that said, you can see that when I press play, it's in the center, but our line traces are not actually going into that knob. As you can see, I know it's a bit small, maybe. Yeah, let me make it a bit bigger. But as you can see, let's do 20, the double. But as you can see, it is not going into that anchor. It's totally wrong, and it's because the rifle is not really aiming into that point. So there's a quick thing that we can do, and it's basically okay, and it's just what we have to do. But basically, instead of going from the destiny from, so we'll begin of course from the rifle, but finish for when the camera is looking. So let's get rid of that up vector and get our full camera, get the world rotation, and then get the forward vector and put that there. And with that small change, you'll see that this will now be fixed. Now it will actually go into where the target is, right? And why is that? Well, the reason is that before our you can see that our firearm is basically slightly, you know, down and whatever, so it wouldn't had never gone there. But now with that fix, it will always be in the direction that the camera is looking, so it will really go into the center, or pretty much the center. So for now this will work for us, okay? You can see that sometimes it does not really go into the center, but don't worry, we'll tune it in a bit later. But the functionality is done, so there we go. Let's put this here so it's a bit better. We don't need that anymore. So now let's go ahead and just apply some damage to where we basically hit. So let's make sure that we have hit something, so if it's true, and then break this. And we'll just get all the parameters of what we have hit. In this case, let's get the actor and say apply damage. In this case, let's just apply, for example, 5 of damage, or 3. Actually 5. So this is the damage that your firearm will do, okay? And later on, we'll have the enemies that will have health, so, you know, you get the idea. And we can just print something, but it doesn't really matter. Right now, what we need to do is also apply some effects, right? And some sounds, which are important. You know, we need some fire effects and some sounds. Now for now, let me just quickly do the loop that I was talking about, and we'll add the sounds and stuff. So basically we have to make it so that when we are holding, all right, we'll be basically shooting. So there's actually a way to just plug in triggered, and you can see that now if I hold, it is basically shooting a lot of times, and basically it might be too many. So I think that we can do is a do once, okay? Basically it will just do it once, but have a small delay. So let's say that right after we have hit it something, we'll basically shoot it. We're gonna make a sequence, and on here we're gonna make a delay of 0.1 seconds, and this is gonna be the rate that we are gonna be able to shoot. So we're gonna be basically with an interpretation of 0.1. You can see that right now it is much many more bullets, because we're limiting how many we can shoot each second. And of course you can play with that values to get what you want, but let's do like 0.03 or something, right? You can play with the rate. This will depend, of course, if you have a submachine gun or a rifle, whatever, right? But for me, I think that this for now will work. I will really get a more of a sense of if it's actually working when we add our, you know, our how we say it, fire effects and stuff. Now let me do one more thing, is that if we shoot without aiming, we can also shoot backwards or something like that. I don't like that. Let's do the same, that we can aim forward, but when we shoot and without aiming, if you get it, basically look backwards, or basically what we're aiming without directly aiming, if it makes sense. I basically just, yeah, you probably didn't understand that, but let me just showcase that, right? So let me just go before the line trace, right after that, and let's just copy this to movement. So it's gonna be basically rate rotation to movement, and use control side rotation. But actually what we can do is just do a nice custom event that we can call with that function. It's gonna be like aim, it's gonna be aim forward. I can just basically call that aim forward. Let me just put that over here, put that there, put that there, there we go. So I'll be aiming forward. And now let me just put that actually down, and I will need another custom event to do the opposite. So custom event, stop aiming forward. There we go. And we'll basically copy the same and paste it here, but do the opposite. So go back to normal. So again, orient back to movement, but not to the desired rotation. So in here, we'll basically go and get the the aim forward. Actually, we can just do it in the started. Aim forward. There we go, aim forward. But when we cancel it and stop, so complete it, we'll need to be stop aiming forward. So when we start holding it, we'll start to aim forward, and when we stop holding it, we'll stop aiming forward. And I forgot to basically plug that in there. All right, there we go. And the same for this one. So now you see that now that will work. If I start shooting, you can see that now is looking where that. Now there's a problem with the feet, and it's that they're not moving correctly, but that's a whole other world. So if you want to see a tutorial on that, go ahead and check that out. But right now when we aim, everything is fine. Of course, if we walk and aim, that's good. But you basically get the idea. Alright, so we have a lot of things done. So let's go ahead and basically add our effects, such as sounds and some particles, so when we hit, and also some muzzle flashes. So let's go ahead and do so. So for our effects, we're gonna be using another free asset pack, because those are more of an advanced effects that we really would need a whole separate tutorial for them. And so we're gonna be using the Infinity Blade effects. It's gonna be linked in the description. Again, totally free from Epic Games, so you just add it into your project. So make sure you go ahead and apply it to show all price as we did with the other ones, and select 5.1, which is the latest one. It's okay, it will work. So now we just basically have to wait a few seconds once again. Now while that is basically importing, let me go back into my Unreal project. And this is because I actually forgot to basically add the shooting animation itself, because right now it's very boring. And it's because I forgot to add that. Okay, sorry about that. So let's go into shoot animations, and we have the fire rifle shoot, which is what we want. So what we can do is just right click, go into create, and do an anime montage. An anime montage will just be an animation that we can call at any time from a blueprint. In this case, it will be here. So right before doing the line trace, okay, let's put this here, and let's go and call this, which is going to be the play montage. It's going to be the other one, the node with more things. And we're going to get the mesh of the player and just apply it here. And now select our fire shoot montage. With that, you will see that we can go ahead and press play, and it will shoot. And now it's basically shooting a lot, as you can see. I mean, it feels good, but it's shooting a lot. Now when we are aiming, you can see that it will not be shooting. And this is for many reasons. The thing is that we have to basically convert it into an additive animation, because if not, if you're aiming, it will just not do so. You kind of just ignore it, right? Another thing that we can do is change the play rate on here to 0.05, so the animation will have more time to play, so it's not like spanning so much. You know, you can play with that settings, right? But another thing that I want to also do in the montage is basically use an anime notify. So I can go ahead and when we shoot, put an anime notify. So basically, can I shoot? Oh my god, can I shoot around here? Do you know it's gonna here? So we can add a notify here in the track, a notify, montage notify, and on here, then I can do so in the notify begin. So basically, it will not shoot instantly once we hit. It will wait until the animation actually goes ahead and shoot, and this is what we want. Now, right now, because the play rate is too high, it will really kind of skip a lot of that. And so let's try to put it just a bit better. You know, you can play with the things. Alright, so another thing I was talking about was playing an additive animation. So let's go into asset details, go into the anim type, and change this into mesh space. And then in here, we're gonna say scaled once again, and then get our idle hip. So now you can see it's the exact same thing, but now when we aim, it will also play, which is basically what we want. So everything is now working. So now I guess that the pack has installed. There we go. Now it's with the button again, so now we have the folder here. So on here we have a few effects. The one that we want is gonna be a muzzle flash. So basically, you just go into the third-person character, and right in here, before doing the line trace and stuff, which actually I'm taking this so far away. Let me just put this here. I'm gonna do, and basically spawn it's gonna be actually system emitter, because this is the old cascade effect, which is okay. At attached. Yes, attached. Do we want that? Yes, we want that. Okay. Basically, because if not, if we move, it will look very bad. Okay, trust me. Let me also move a bit this over here. There we go. So what we're going to do is search for muzzle, and we'll see that we have two. In this case, I want the backpack one. And attached to component, well, it will be attached to the rifle. And now we can put the exact point of our muzzle flash. So let's copy the one from here and put it here. This is the cool thing about using skeleton meshes, as you can see. Now the location, well, this will be pretty much this exact location. And the rotation will be pretty much this exact rotation of the camera. So that will work for us. Maybe we want to change this for the camera to the rifle. It's a bit better because this is more of a effects, but we'll see. And pulling, let's say auto release, and this will just basically keep relative to offset, I believe it is. And we'll play around with those settings there. But that should be correctly done. So I mean, let's press play. Maybe it's too big. We'll see. Maybe it's too small. Okay. As you can see, it is actually not spawning anything, right? The scale is to 1. Okay, so maybe it is about this. So keep wall position might be. The thing is that I think if we... Alright, there we go. Alright. Yeah, okay. So we have some things here. We can now see how... So this is absolutely huge, as you can see, but we're getting this. So we can change the scale to maybe 0.2. That might work a bit better. Let's see. Oh yes, that's so cool. Another thing that we can do is already just get the, sorry, this now, the for duration to be none, so we don't have it debug, so it's a bit nicer. There we go. As you can see, now we're shooting and it's looking pretty damn cool, as you can see. Great. Now let's do a hit effect. Okay, so when we hit something that is not the enemy, in this case I'm just gonna go ahead and just do a spawn emitter at the location this time. Okay, this will be, I remember that was called troll, and yes, it's a literally troll impact. No, it was troll death impact. Is this one literally? This is actually pretty good. It's like some smoke, and don't worry, we will not have trolls. Okay, this will be the impact point, and then we're gonna get the normal and do it from well, sorry, rod from, make rod from X. Basically, it will just pull it outside of where it's hitting, you know, like towards outside of the vertices, you know what I mean? The scale, maybe we have to change it, and this auto release. So let's test that. Let's hit, for example, this, and you can see that now this is appearing. It's a bit big, yes, but you can see now it is appearing, as you can see. So it's really cool, as you can see. So maybe, actually, I like kind of this size, honestly, to be like exaggerated. So let's do 0.65. All right, let's do that. Maybe it's too much. Maybe it's, yeah, that's perfect. I like that. You can see how it's appearing. I really like that. You can see it's always like outside the mesh. This is basically great. So we already have a lot of things to actually now finish up with the effect of shooting. Let's have some sounds. We'll also include some footstep sounds, so we'll have like the full experience already. So we're basically shooting, right, from the rifle itself, like the trigger of the hit, okay, and then also footsteps. So let's go ahead and do so. Alright, so I have downloaded some sounds. They're totally free. I will be leaving them in the description just in case you want to get the same ones as me. Of course, you can go ahead and choose your own ones if you have them, but I'm gonna be using this one. So literally just go ahead and download them, and we're gonna just select them and drag them. And first of all, I like to keep everything organized, so just right click and create a new folder and call this audio. And now, yes, we can go ahead and get our sounds and just basically just drag them in. And there we go, we have all of them. Just Ctrl-Shift-S to save everything. You can see footstep, rifle, and concrete. I don't know, you can really hear them because I have the audio in the mic higher than the other one, but you know, let's see what we can do. All right, so the first thing that I want to do is create a meta sound, and you're probably wondering why we're gonna be using meta sounds. Well, basically, the thing is that right now, if we play a rifle sound when we shoot, every time that we shoot, it will be a bit repetitive and will almost resemble bad quality. But if we can have different variations of it, it will make it much better. You're probably wondering, well, we only have one sound, how can I be making variations? Well, the short answer is by using meta sounds and changing the pitch randomly. Just right click, go into audio and create a meta sound source. MS rifle fire, right? Let's open this up. So now in here, I do have a tutorial specialized on your first meta sound, so you wanna see that, check out that. So I'm gonna be using this note, which is the play mono sound, which we can just play basically a sound. In this case, it will be a rifle. So right now I can play that into unfinished, and then all mono into out mono. If I press play, it is the same stuff, but I can use the pitch and call this node, which is the random float. Connect this into next and into next. And now put a range. Let's say that the minimum is going to be -3 and the maximum 3. If I press play now, it's a small difference, but you can hear some variations. And in the long run, it will sound much better. Of course, you can change the value, the range, so maybe put -5 and 5, and it will, make it even more with more variations. But I recommend not going too far, because now that will just sound different and will just be weird. Okay, so have that in mind. Now we're gonna do a same exact thing with the other sounds. So let's do the same. For example, the footstep. So this will basically be ms_footstep. And the cool thing is that we just duplicated it, so the only thing that we have to do is just found the footstep, and that's it. Now this one is lower the volume, but it is okay. If you cannot hear it, you can just do it by yourself and you'll see. And then we just got, did I put just 3 O's here? Oh my god. Okay. Duplicate this ms, and this is just hit concrete, and basically just change that to the hit concrete sound. That is so much better, you can see. Now the last thing I want to do is a sound attenuation to play them in 3D, because if not, it will play them, for example, from a character when he's shooting, it will play through the whole scene. But later on, when we get into our enemies and they shoot at a distance, right, we want to be playing in a 3D space. If we get nearer, it will sound higher and closer to us and things like that, right? So what we can do is just right click, go into what is audio, and create a thing called the sound attenuation, SA, and this will basically just be character, because basically we will have all our character sounds like that. Our inner radius will be basically like 120, and our fall of distance will be around 2000, because normally, well, firearms can be hearing from some distance. So you can play with that values, but for me that will work. So now we need to go into the 3 of the rifles and go into the source. Okay, so click in source, go into attenuation, and split the character one. So for the fire rifle, for this footstep, go in source, attenuation, character, and then concrete. This the same source, attenuation. There we go. So now we can just go ahead and play the sounds. In this case, on here in the begin, before playing the line trace, we'll go ahead and play sound at location. In this case, it will be the ms_fire rifle, and the location will be the get actor location, the one that we are currently in. You can see that now. If we hit play, that is so cool. Now maybe it's too high, so let me just go ahead and put the multiplier to 0.6 or 0.65, something like that. So it's not too high, but you can play with that. Wow, that's so cool. Now let's do the same with the hit sound. Basically, when we spawn our hit thing, let me just copy the whole note, but pretty much put it here, and then basically there we go. And this will be ms_hit concrete. Press play. You can see that. Maybe it's let's do 0.35, because it was too loud basically. Now got much better. This is so cool. It's really going cool. Now let's do the footsteps. So it's a very good way, and let's go into the shooter animations and go into our jog. Okay, and now what we can do is put and play a sound in each foot. So basically, right now is doing a foot, as you can see. So in here we can go into notify track, add a notify, and play a sound. In this case, it will be our ms_footstep that we created. We can now just select it, Ctrl C to copy, go into the next one. When it's right now put in there, click here, put the mouse over it, and Ctrl V. And now do the same with the last one here, Ctrl V. And then the same here, Ctrl V. And now that is great. So now, as you can see, it's playing. It's a bit too low, but we can change the volume. But look, that's perfect. Maybe I can increase it a tiny bit so it's more appreciated in the recording. But I think it's a perfect volume. But just for the sake of the recording, just in case, let me just go into sound here. So we can go into source sound and put it like 1.3. Just a bit, you know. I mean, that is perfect. Wow. Okay, that's gonna be cool. So now we pretty much have the base of our character controller and everything with our shooting, sound, muzzle flashes, and like literally this is pretty cool. Like, I'm not gonna lie, this is pretty cool. So now the next thing basically should be actually beginning with our AI enemies and basically have them first of all just wander around in search of enemies, right, and their targets. And once they locate you, go ahead or locate one of their enemies and basically stand still and shoot. And if they get in a certain range, they'll get closer and shoot again. Okay, that is how it should be. We're gonna be making a simple AI, so actually we are not gonna be touching behavior trees, and that's for many reasons. Mainly is because this tutorial, which is really like a full-fledged tutorial, is really only for beginners, and I do not recommend exactly behavior trees for those type of beginners. Okay, so that's the reason. So we're gonna be using just normal blueprints for them, which is gonna be totally fine. We're gonna have a lot of them, but of course this is not gonna be crazy things of hiding or anything. Don't expect that. It's gonna be simple AI, okay, but with their functionality to the point. So what we're going to be doing now is basically setting up the AI, basically their blueprint class, their actor, setting up their animations so that they can work, and then that they can roam around. Okay, so let's get started with that. Alright, so let's set up our AI. So in my case, I'm gonna go ahead and just create a new folder and call this blueprints. So just in the future, we start adding more blueprints, we have everything organized. One of the key things of creating a game in Unreal Engine, or really any engine like Unity or whatever, is organizing everything, especially with Unreal Engine, as assets can be very expensive and heavy. So just right click, go into blueprint class, and let's create a character, because it will already have our capsule collider, our mesh, and our character movement component for our AI to move. It's gonna be BP underscore. In this case, it will just be, let's just say AI, because if you want later on to make teams, well, maybe some of them will be your allies. So it's gonna be a generic AI. Alright, so place this here. Now in mesh, we can go ahead and find whatever we want. And it is, as it is the same skeleton, we can put another guy, alright, another model, because it's the same skeleton, so it will work. In the location, in this let's put -89, and here -90, so it will be correctly placed and aligned. One of the first things I'm going to do is go into the class defaults and search for yaw. I'm going to be disabling this, because this will force the rotation to be very snappy, and I don't want that. I want it to be smooth. So let's go and now select the character movement component, go down, and let's turn on orient rotation to movement as the player has it, okay? Alright, so now with that done, the rotation and model should be good. So we need to go into the event graph and let's delete everything except the begin play and create a new custom event, which will be basically search around. So basically this will be just searching around the map to find enemies. In this case, I'm gonna be using the AI move to node, right, this one, aim pawn is going to be self, because that's the one they're going to be moving, and it's going to be moving itself. And then the destination, we can basically get a random reachable point in radius. So with the origin of this will be the get actor location, because it's basically its current location, and this is how far away it wants to look. In this case, it's going to be something as 2000, okay? Saying, well, that's not a lot for a whole map. Well, the thing is that once it reaches that point, if it doesn't seize anything, it will go back and look another 2000 radius out of that point. So it's really the whole map. It will look through the whole map. This is just the radius that will just look at one task at a time. And the acceptance radius can increase it to 120. No, actually like 300, because it's actually like, yes, do 300 for now, because it's really a firearm, so you don't want to get real close to things. Now in success, right now I'm going to do a small delay of 1 second, and then it will be in a loop. So we'll go ahead and search around. Now of course this is while he isn't seeing anyone. If he sees someone, he will stop doing this and start attacking, right? But for now we're only going to be doing the movement of just searching. Now the begin play, we need to initialize this, so let's just say search around, and with that said, this should work. Let's go ahead and just say search around, so everything is nice and organized. And again, let's put our preset that we created earlier, so it's a bit nicer, right? Press C for a comment if you forgot. With that said, we can now get our AI and drag it into the scene, okay? The thing is that right now it will not move, because Unreal Engine needs something to be able to move. What it needs is to, well, if we go up and quickly add to the sprite, we can go down into volumes and add a nav mesh bounce volume. So now if I add this into the scene and basically log its scale and put it as 20, for example, it will basically pretty much, you know, fill in the whole scene. Let me just put it into the center. If I now press P, you can see it will basically calculate all the possible paths that the AI can go. This is essential for the AI in Unreal Engine. If not, the enemy will not be able to move. As simple as that. So make sure to press P to check that areas are green. If not, you have not correctly placed your box or whatever. If I now press play, you can see that the AI is moving. When it reaches a point, it will stop for 1 second and pick another point. Everything is working. Now he's going a bit too fast for my thing, so let's put 500, which is a bit less, and to match the movement of the player, because right now the player moves at 500, so that would be good. Now let's add the animations. So what we can do is just add the one that we did for ABB shooter. Now we have with the same name, so let's go, as you remember, because we retargeted it. So let's go into shooter animations. Now let's go into the UE5 one, and basically the old one, let's just put underscore UE5, so we can differentiate that from that. And now we can just go and put the one that doesn't have UE5, the normal one. Okay, so he isn't moving actually. Okay, now he's moving. I think that I don't have, oh, it didn't just update. Okay, so now you can see that he moves perfectly fine with his animations, so everything is gonna head on working great. So we have an AI already walking around. That is so cool, you know. So let's go ahead and also make that he has a rifle. So that we did with the player, just in the mesh, with the mesh selected, just go into add and a skeleton mesh. So it will be a rifle, and now we can go into skeleton mesh asset and just find our sk_AR4. Of course, you can choose the one that you want, but it's the one that we did for the socket. So we can go up here into parent socket and just put RH rifle. Again, no collision. Make sure that's on, because now it will collide with things that we don't want that. This is just cosmetic stuff. And with that, he will have a weapon. Already looking really, really cool. Of course, right now he cannot shoot or anything, but honestly, I could damage him. So let's go ahead and play with that, right? So in terms of applying damage, we already did from the player's side, if you remember, that when we hit something, we applied 5 of damage into that actor. So everything should be set up. So the only thing that we have to do is go into the AI event graph, and we have this already built-in event in Unreal, which is the any damage event, any damage. So basically, when an actor receives damage, it will call it will be calling this event with the damage that we have received. So everything, Unreal Engine is really good for this type of things. So what we can do in here is basically create a new variable, which will be the health of our AI. In this case, let's change it from boolean to float because it will be a number, and a float instead of an integer because we want some decimals to be more accurate. Now let's go ahead and get it. I'm gonna be setting it. So what we want to do in here is basically get our incoming, let's get our health, our current health, and decrease it with our incoming damage, and that will be our new health. So basically we're just subtracting the amount of damage that we're receiving each time, right? Now we're gonna be checking if the current health is less or equal to 0. If so, it will mean that it is dead, and if not, it will mean that, well, basically it has just received damage. So let's just put an output of damage to make sure that it's working. And right now you can see it is not detecting damage. This is probably due to the collision settings. So right now for our line trace, we're doing it in the visibility channel, and we go to AI and select our mesh. We go to collision. You can see that, well, there we go, that's the problem. Visibility is basically right now ignoring it. So we can go into custom and let's put this to be on block. Now there's another thing that I want to do, and it's basically we want our characters to die with a ragdoll. It will look really cool. It will just kind of fall with physics. So we need to go into condition enabled, and instead of saying no physics collision, we need to go into query and query and physics. Or collision enabled, query and physics. For the capsule component, we have now to go and put this to be ignore. Where is it? Ignore only pawn, because if not, the own physics of the character when it ragdolls will be affecting. So we don't want that. So with that said, we can now press play and attack our guy, and he doesn't print anything. Great. Why is that happening? Okay, so wait. So we are basically attacking him, okay? Oh, wait, no, yes, minus equal, basically, yeah, this should be good. Let's put another true here, but basically die. Probably there's something wrong with the collision still. Die, and then we're going to do is ragdoll this character. So let's get the mesh and use set enable. Well, set simulate physics. There we go, and we just turn this to true, so the character will ragdoll. But right now, for some reason, oh, there we go, die. Oh, I know why. I'm stupid. Because right now the health is set at 0. Of course, we have to set it to, let's say, 10 just for now, okay? Well, 20. Because he needs some starting health. If not, he will start already dead, right? So shoot, and he's already in die, but he's not actually simulating the physics, which is actually a bit strange right now. But let me go ahead and do something else too, which is get the character mode component and set the movement mode to be none, so he will not be able to continue to move, right? So now he doesn't move, and actually, I'm not gonna lie, it's a bit weird that he doesn't die, but I guess that's because the things on the physics assets are not probably set up or something. Let's see. So models, exactly, you can see that there's no physics asset. If we also filter by physics asset, which, let's see, can I use physics asset? Well, it has the one of the mannequin, which is okay. Let's just check that. So let's go into the AI, select the mesh, and physics, no, material, sorry. Yeah, actually, I think it wasn't actually from here, right? Physics, material, right? Yeah, it wasn't from here. It should be from here. So let's open the mesh, asset details, and there we go. It's basically empty. So we have to go into the mesh, go into physics asset, and apply the one of the mannequin. In this case, it's the one from the path of casual, as you can see. You can see path game casual. This is the one that we want. So of course, if he doesn't have physics asset, he cannot die. Now, whoa, there we go. We can now go ahead and attack him. Now you can see that something weird happens. Basically, the camera will sometimes glitch. So just go back into the mesh, go down, and go into the collision settings and put camera to be ignore. I'm gonna do the same with the custom component. Set this to custom, and I'm gonna actually set visibility in camera to be true. Sorry, to be false and ignore. And it will still it will still damage, but now the collisions will be a bit more accurate because basically the it will only hit where the character is hitting, not the capsule. So the collisions will be more accurate. Yeah, basically that. So you can see now we can go ahead and kill our AI. That's cool. So basically he will be wandering around the scene, right? Stopping, basically looking towards us. Of course, right now we don't have our functionality of him attacking us, but basically now if I hit him, if I manage, oh my god, it's hard hit. There we go, we can go ahead and kill him. So that's really cool. So the next step will be setting up his perception system. So we can also go ahead and disable all the filter, or remove the filter. There we go. So let's set up his perception system so he can basically find us, and when he finds us, attack us, right? That's what we want to do. So let's set that up. All right, so to this, let's go into our AI, basically our blueprint. And what we're going to do is add a new component called the pound sensing. This will allow our AI to have some basically parameters to analyze its environment. In this case, it has sight and hearing and so on. In this case, we are only going to be focusing on sight, okay, for this tutorial here. Now, we have a few things as the radius, how far away he can see us, and then the angle and so on. For now, for testing, I'm gonna decrease this to maybe 80 or 75, so it's a bit triggered to see us, so we can hide behind him. And then also we're gonna put the side radius to like 3000, so we can basically test a bit better our AI. Okay, just for that, and make sure that see pawns is enabled, and so on, right? So now we have this option here on see pawn. So let's go ahead and basically click this, right? Let's also go ahead and just select this and press C health, just to make sure that everything is organized. Put our here. So basically, when our AI will detect a new object, in this case a new pawn, which could be us or other enemies, it will call this event and it will pass us our new pawn that we are seeing. In this case, we want to check if it's the player. So let's just go ahead and cast to our third person character. If this succeeds, it means that it is our player. So it's seeing our player. And what we want to do is go ahead and make a new custom event, and it's basically chase target. Because it can also be other thing that's not our player. So what we're going to do in here is just do the AI move to, copy this to nodes, right? But now it's going to be a bit different because now it will chase that actor. So what we want to do is basically call the chase target, and what we want to do here is pass as a parameter the pawn. So it basically just pass it on top of the actually we cannot do that, it has to be here. So target actor, pass it as a parameter here, and now that will be as a target actor and get the pawn, not from the third person, it has to be from the pawn system. Very important. So now it will be going towards that actor that has seen. In this case, we're just making sure that it's only, the third person character. The acceptance radius 300, yes, and then on success, sorry, I don't even know how to talk. Let's go ahead and basically just print something, but basically it should shoot, right? So let's go ahead and just press play. Now it sees us, now it is chasing us, as you can see. How cool, and now you're dead. Yeah. That's what happens when you chase me. Honestly, it looks pretty cool. So basically right now he can roam around and see us, and then he started chasing us. Next step will be basically attacking us. So basically we're gonna actually go and get some code from our existing shooting system from our player, which is a bit of a mess, I have to say, because we have many things, but basically he has to play the montage, he has to play the emitter, and it has to play a sound. But for now, we're gonna keep it simple and just do focus on just the animation and the line trace. Let's get this, and let's get this. Okay, we're gonna be doing the effects and so on right now. Let's get this nose from the line trace. Let's copy. Let's go back to our AI, and let's go down and paste this. And in this case, get this right. Put this here. Well, in this case, this will be the notify begin. Remember that, because it's when it is actually shooting with the right, pressing the trigger. Let's put this here like that. This like this like this, and this all like this. And of course, right now it is not from our camera, so don't worry about that. What we can do is just get from our mesh. It doesn't really matter. From that should work. So what we can do is another custom event and call this basically fire. Let's put this over here. So basically, let's get this, put it in here, and when we do success, basically fire. So now it will be shooting once it sees us. Now let's go ahead and put the book type for duration. So let's see what it does right now. He sees us, and you can see that he's shooting, but completely wrong, right? And this also has to do with what we did about the axis and so on. Now it will not be the forward vector, it is actually in this case with a mesh the right vector, because it's with the Y. So get right vector. Let's put this here, and now he should be shooting correctly. As you can see, he's shooting, right? And he's shooting me, and he's actually, actually targeting me, which is cool. Now, of course, he's very slow. He shoots like a shotgun almost. Don't worry about that. We'll fix it in a second. But let's actually just apply some of the effects actually. So let's just get the backpack muzzle flash. Let's get these 2 notes. And let's get the sound of the rifle. Let's get these 2 notes. Let's go here, and that should be in the beginning play before the line trace, right? So let's just get all this. No, get all this. There we go. Ah, come on. Why are you? Okay. Now yes. Let's put this over here. Space this. Let's put this here. Let's plug that here. We have many things on here. Too many things. Too many notes, basically. Let's put this here. Okay. Now let's get this settings. If it lets me. Let's move them more to here. Let's get this more to here. Here. And then here. There we go, here. Okay, good. So let's get this here. The location will be here for a muzzle flash, and the rotation, I believe, yeah, it will be this one. The scale like that, great. So now he should play some sounds and some muzzle flash, you can see, which is working perfectly. Now you can see the orientation is wrong once again. So honestly, I'm gonna pass just the rotation here, I think, of the rifle. So let's see if that's a bit better. Also, we need to do that if you hit him, he should know you. Oh my god, he's so stupid. Come here, my boy. Alright, the orientation is still a bit... Yeah, the multiplier is almost like broken, for real. It's attached into the component, and I think I have the same stuff as the third person. Not really. Keep wall position, auto release, the muzzle flash. It's really just the rotation, but alright. I mean, let's plug in the mesh. It should be good. Okay, so don't worry about that. Okay, we'll fix it as we go. But that's working. Let's do also the for when it hits something. So basically playing these 2 things, right? Well, these 4 things. Let's copy this, paste that, put that there. There we go. And now in here, just plug in impact point, and here normal. And with that, he should be ready to go. So now he can see us, and he basically shoots when he reaches us. Let's also increase a bit the distance which he attacks, so we can change that in the acceptance radius to maybe 450. Great. And now in the fire, let's see how many, well, we can see already how many times it's shooting, but basically we have to increase this a bit, right? So what we can do is use in the fire, in the success, and the thing is right now he is playing with the interval of on scene. So what we can do is go into pawn sensing and go into the sensing interval and put in this 2.1. So now he will be sensing more often, therefore shooting more often. That's great. Oh, that's great. Did you lose me? Oh no, okay. So another thing that we have to do is basically always be looking at you, because in some cases, if he's at this distance, he will stop attacking, and we don't want that, right? He's not seeing you. So what we can do is basically once he's chasing the target and he's shooting, we're gonna be passing also that target actor. So let's create a new input. It's gonna be actor. Well, name it the same, target actor. In this case, I believe it's using an actor. So let's do the same here. Actor. It's gonna be normal actor object reference. And basically, we're gonna be looking at the actor. So what we can do is get the controller, and then set the rotation, the control rotation. So basically, gonna be rotating the AI to be looking towards what is shooting the actor. So we can use this node, which is the final look of rotation from where we are right now. So get actor location to where the AI is looking. So get actor, okay, well, the actor it is. So from there, now each time that he should be looking always at me, okay? Which is not exactly working, as we can see. And we get a lot of errors about this. So let's see what is up to with the errors. So it's because of the set control rotation. Oh, I'm stupid because we didn't pass the actor rotation. So we have to pass the variable. I forgot about that. All right. So now he's always looking at me when he shoots. There we go. So now I think that we can actually move from the AI and the line trace, the debug, so put it back to none, so we don't see that ugly red lines. And what we're going to do is implement the health system in the players, so we can actually damage us too. So let's literally go ahead and copy the whole health block, go into the third person character, and just paste it. And then just go into health, right click, create a variable, compile, select the health variable, and put this to be like 50. So we'll have more health than him. And we're actually gonna get rid of the prints, we don't need them. And select this, put it like so. Now let's do the same so our character can ragdoll. And also another thing to do is disable input, because, well, our player will not be able to move. We can actually just leave the player controller empty, and we just get the one that right now owns. So we can go into the mesh, go down, and set this to be custom as always, and then set this to be collision enable query and physics, very important. And then the capsule component, we can now say ignore only pawn, as we did. So now, if it hits me a lot, we should die in theory. Oh yeah, okay, so we died, but it didn't enable the simulate physics, because again we had the error of before, which is going to into the mesh, open this up, going down into the physics asset, searching for mannequin, and then seeing the one from path game SCK casual. That's the one that we want, and now it should do that. Okay, I don't know why he didn't look at me really, but there you go, it's working. Great, so I'm liking that. It's actually looking pretty good. We can close that. Another thing I want to do real quick is use a health bar so I can see my health. So let's go into the HUD, and I can just get a progress bar. Just drag it here and anchor it. Let's say it's gonna be in the bottom left corner. Let's anchor it there. Let's put the position 0 and 0. Let's put the alignment to 0.5 and 0.5, and then we can put the size on X to be around 300 or something, and then on Y basically like 10 or 20. I think 20 will be good. Then on X, let's put it more into here, and Y more into here, like that. And the size X actually has to be way more, so maybe like 600, and then size Y like 40. That's a bit better. Let's just move it regularly like that. I think that's a good point there. Let's change the color to be red, and of course you can put the same values as me as you want. Now right now, if I put a percentage in here where it's a percent of 0.7, you can see that we can visualize it, but of course that percentage has to be the health of the player. Now have in mind that the percent goes from a value from 0 to 1, not from 0 to 100. So when you're designing your health, you have to have that in mind. But we can keep it actually from 0 to 100 one we have right now, but change it in the percentage. So what we can do is go to the percent and bind it, create a binding. Basically this will just set the percentage, and it always will be changing that. So on here, what we're gonna do is basically cast to the third person character, and basically just get the player character. So basically we'll be getting our health right now, and because right now we cannot pass it like that because it goes from 0 to 1, we need to divide this by a max health, which right now it is by 100. So if you were to have another max health of, for example, 500, you would change this value. Of course you can create another variable and plug it from there if you want. Now you can see that that will work, and as you can see, he's killing me, and you can see the health going down. Great. Now let's do the same with the AI. Put a simple health bar on him. So what I'm going to do is just duplicate this and change the HUD to be AI underscore health bar. Let's open this real quick. Let's get rid of the image here. This, let's put it in the center. So position X and Y 0, 0. And the percentage, we're actually gonna be removing the binding because we're gonna be doing it from outside. Okay, so remove that. Now go back to the AI viewport, and just with the parent selected, just add a widget. So we can add a widget in 3D. In this case, this will be the health bar widget. So now here we can go into the widget class and assign our AI health bar, and it's in here. So I'm gonna just put it up and just literally just change the size like this. Okay, so we can put in here. Now we can change to maybe 1.1. It's a bit better. 1.12, something like that. It's okay. Just put it here. Great. So we can see it right now in there. So we go into event graph. I'm gonna add in the button the event tick. As you may know, the event tick is always constantly running in every frame. So in every frame, what we're going to do is first of all get the percentage, no, the progress bar. Well, we had to make it bullet, so change the name here to health bar, and make sure to set is variable. So now back in AI, we can just get the health bar. No, we need to. Oh, we need to, of course, we need to get a widget class. I forgot. We need to get the widget, and now cast, because this could be any widget. So we're gonna need to cast into our AI health bar, because I mean, even though we of course set the class in here, from here it doesn't know which one it is, so we need to get it from here and cast to it. Now yes, we can get our health bar, and we can go and set the percent of this health bar. Again, this will be our health, well, the AI's health divided by 100, which will be the next one, and I just plug that into in percent. And now another thing that I want to do is get the health bar and set the world rotation. Right, and probably wondering why that. Well, if I now press play, as you can see, the health bar is not visible, except when I come here. So basically it's not looking at the camera. we want to be able, to be looking at the camera. So let's go. We can actually close this too. It's three things. You go to AI, plug that there. I'm gonna be using the same node that we did before to what is happening? There we go. To look at our players. So look at rotation from our current actor position, get actor location to, we can get the camera manager, and then from it we can basically get the location. Okay, so get actual location, and with that we can always look at, well, the health bar will always be looking at the camera, so it's exactly what we want. And you can see he's very low health because, I mean, he has like only like 10 of health. We can increase that, of course, into health and put him like 50, but that's up to you, of course. You can change the health bar, the max health too. Oh my god, all right, you're tricky, man. But basically everything is working. Great. Wow, you're strong, man. Let's check the interval to be like 0.17, because my goodness, he can really attack fast, huh? There we go, you're now dead. Now of course you can see that he still attacks when he's dead. Let's create a variable to control this. He is dead. This will be a boolean. Sorry, byte, no, a boolean. And then when he dies, in here we'll set it to be true, of course. There we go. And then in the var, we're gonna basically make a branch and check that is dead is not boolean, so basically it's not true. Okay, because now he will be able to fire. Another thing I want to do is that when the player dies, well, the AI dies, sorry, I keep saying player, or it's the AI right now, and I'm gonna be disabling the health bar because we are not interested to see it anymore. So we can just leave this visibility to be 0. So now if I were to kill it, he dies, and you can see that now he doesn't shoot anymore, his health bar disappears, everything as we want. So great, everything is basically going ahead and working correctly. So we have a lot of things going on, pretty damn cool. Also you can see, I'm gonna actually show you, if I remove this from the checking out the third person player, and I make another AI, right, and then press simulate, you will see that they should attack each other. They're not attacking each other. Can you see each other? Maybe they actually haven't seen each other, but anyway, you get the idea. Later on they should see each other, so actually I'm gonna take that away. Anyway, the thing is that right now, once they have a target and then they lose it, they will never come back to search around. So a thing that we can do, okay, is basically in the begin play do a delay and basically make it bigger than the interval, so 0.25, and then do the search around, call it, right? And that will basically mean that it will constantly be trying to patrol, but if it has a target, because the interval is lower, it will have priority and go to search. Now you can see that things can happen, so actually I'm gonna do another safety check, and it's that has seen target, and if it has seen a target, which I'm gonna put the T in uppercase, which is gonna be here. We're gonna be setting to true. Good. And then here I'm gonna be setting that to false. Okay. There we go. And then I'm gonna be making sure in here, in the branch, where's the branch, that he has not seen a target. So with that said, let's see now. Comes to me, there we go. He doesn't that. But if I manage to, well, let me get one out, because if, I'm gonna go crazy. He sees me and then I try to distract him. You can see that he goes back to patrolling, but of course he... Come on. There we go. Ah, he saw me again. Well, basically you can see he basically goes back to patrolling, but... instantly sees me. Even though I... Okay, there we go. What are you doing? Is he really listening to me? I'm playing around with you, man. Alright, well, yeah, because I mean, that should basically work. 0.25, yes, disable. If not, it will be enabled again. I mean, let's put this 0.3 maybe. Okay, well, yeah, it seems to be working, but he sees me again, but don't worry about that. So the next thing we're gonna be doing is finally setting up the map. It's gonna be pretty cool, so let's get started. Alright, so for our environment, we're gonna be using this free pack from the marketplace. Once again, I will be linking it in the description. It's basically a really cool stylized Egypt, and we can even, make it look better with lighting modifications and things in the paths and so on. And honestly, we can get some really good gameplay. So basically, just go ahead and add it into your Epic Games library as always, with the other assets too. And now we can just go ahead and click add to project. Let's go ahead and find once again our project. Once again, also tick the show in all projects, very important. And then we're gonna change the version into 5.1, which is the latest one I can, but it's okay. And you say add to project, and now we will have just with whatever it takes, right? Alright, so it has imported. You can see the button has already appeared, so I can just close this and go back into Unreal. And now we should have a new folder, which in this case will be the stylized agent. So let's go ahead and open this. We're gonna go into maps, and I'm gonna open the demo map. Save. Basically, I just remove the AI because I was testing something. So let's go ahead and wait. Hopefully, it will open soon and not crash or anything. Alright, so it has opened, and basically we got a warning. It's okay, and we have here the map. So as you can see, it looks pretty damn cool. Also some shaders is compiled and so on. And I mean, let's just go ahead and press play for a second. I'm excited to see this. Oh my god. Yeah, so it's compiling some shaders. Wow. We'll need to play some, environment sounds, but this is really cool, and like it perfectly matches our character. See how good I am picking assets. I'm very good. And yeah, I mean, this looks awesome. So let's retouch a bit of the light. So what we're going to do is just hold Control Alt and L, and then we can position a bit the sun differently. Now the thing is that I want to make it a bit brighter, so what we can do is just find the light source. So in this case we have the skylight and also the light source. Light source is what we want. Now what we're going to do is use lumen, so change it to movable. This will change to, of course, lumen. Skylight, make sure you have real-time capture enabled. What you can see is updating to use lumen, which is very important for us. And then in the light source, gonna increase the intensity, maybe 5, something like that. Maybe it looks a bit better. Then in the exponential high fog, make sure that we have volumetric fog on, very important too. And then atmospheric fog, we can leave everything as default. Now let's go ahead and check out the post processing. As you can see, if I disable it, a lot of things changes, but actually a lot of things honestly improves. Like, I'm not gonna lie, this is darkening the scene too much, so we can touch things over here, and really is about the exposure compensation. As you can see, this is what really changes. So I mean, here it doesn't have any limits. As you can see, super bright. We put this as a bit more control, so we can play around with the settings and maybe put here 0.3, and honestly that looks way better. And maybe too bright. We have to play with the values, but overall, I think that looks better. We can, yeah, go into -1 and maybe -1 here. This is a bit better. And then change that there. Maybe leave this at, leave us 0.2 or 1. Yeah, I think 1 would do the job. I think that this is pretty good. So basically, the main thing that we touched was post processing. Put this into 1 and then -1, -1. I think that really improves the scene. Wow, this, look at the difference, man. This is much better. Like, this is way better in my opinion, at least. And then we can touch some color grading. I mean, already, I believe it does. But we can go into the global. Yeah, already has some contrast, as you can see, which is just, look at this. Look at the difference. It just makes it a bit better. And then let's add some saturation. Let's put like 1.2. No, that's way too much. 1.12. Yeah, 1.12 is a bit better. It basically just makes it a bit more brighter. You know what I mean? In shadows, we can add a bit more of a contrast. Maybe not. We can leave that at 1. Okay, yeah, we'll not touch contrast, as the exposure is already doing pretty much its job on that. I mean, there are many things that you can touch, like mid-tones or even the saturation in the shadows. I think that we can increase this 1.2 around. And overall, this is already looking pretty cool. Now, make sure, yeah, there we go. So all the light source right now are set to stationary. For them to be able to use lumen, we have to set them to movable. So let's go ahead and select all of the point lights over here, except light source we already did. And let's select movable over here. You can see it did like change some things. Basically, is using lumen right now. Light source, make sure it's movable. Intensity to 5. That will, maybe 6 a bit better. I like 6. Nothing here. And skylight, make sure that's movable. And real-time capture is on. Effects world is on, of course. That was already by default. That will be good. Alright. Now another thing that we can do is actually in the light. Let's go into the light source. I mean, I don't know, maybe it's too much, but we can go down and put light shaft occlusion and then bloom. No. No. Let's get that out. No, we don't want that, okay? Too much. Anyway, this is just basically playing around with some of the things, right? But for the fog and stuff, I think that's pretty good. Alright, so now let's go ahead and move on into actually placing our... Wow, look how cool this looks. Our enemies around the map and so on. Let's go. Now, before starting to place our enemies and so on in the scene, let me quickly showcase something. So let's go on third person maps. Let's go back in here. We just like a testing map. If I were now to get this guy, let's put it back, right, and get another one. All right, duplicate another AI. And rotate it, which is gonna be the issue that I mentioned before that we had earlier. And for example, I Ctrl S to basically what is it? Simulate Alt S. You can see that they won't be attacking each other. The thing is that if we open one of the BP AIs and we go into the pound sensing, we have this checked on, which is by default, which is only sense players. We have to disable this. If not, they won't be sensing other actors that are not controlled by a player. So let's disable that, and now you can see that they will see each other and start attacking. Now, another issue that I have just saw is that, well, let's go ahead and preview our line traits when they attack. And is that it is, well, right now it's working, but before, basically sometimes it is a bit too thin. Let's see if I can replicate that. Well, right now they're attacking pretty good. They want to embarrass me. Okay, for example, this, right? Oh yeah, because sometimes they see this spectator pawn. And you're probably wondering, what is the spectator pawn? Basically, sometimes they're literally seeing the player start. It is so weird. Anyway, that was nothing. There we go. Okay, so sometimes they won't be able to shoot correctly because they're like stupid or something, right? So there are many ways that we can control this. First thing I'm going to do, instead of doing a line trace by channel, I'm going to be doing a sphere trace by channel, because it will just make the bullet thicker and therefore hitting more. So let's go ahead and just make it sphere trace by channel. Just go ahead and hold start and put it here, and the end hold and put it here. Then the return value, plug that one there, and then the out hit, put it there. So now this is just empty. Delete that and plug it into the branch. Let's give a radius of around 20, and as view it for duration. So now you can see that they hit more often, because the amount of because now it's a sphere, okay, and they have more space for collision. Now it was too much, I think. Maybe 12 is a bit better. As you can see now, they hit more each other, and basically the chances of them being stuck like it happened are way less. So we can experiment with that, but I think that will basically do the job for now. So that's pretty cool. So now we can just go back into our map and start placing them. But before, I quickly just want to make this of the teams. Okay, I know I'm mixing things up now. I said we're gonna place them in the map, then this fix, but I just realized now that we don't even have the team system on. So let me quickly just make a simple team system. Okay, so what we're going to do is basically have team A and team B. Normally you could do this by boolean, but I'm gonna take things to the next level, and imagine that we want to have different names for each one. So what we're going to do is create an enumerator. So let's go into the right click and go into, well, I mean, let's do this in blueprints. Right click, go into, did they move blueprint? Oh no, it's here. And do enumeration. This will allow us to create a list of things, right? And this will be teams. In this case, we can add 2 of them, and this will be team A and team B. And why I'm doing this as an enumerator, we only will have 2. Well, imagine in the future you want to have 3 teams in this case, or do all the I don't know, other stuff, right? This will allow you to just add as many as you want and put the name that you want. So it's more versatile and more professional, I must say. So if we now go back into our AI, what we can do is create a variable named team, and this can be of type of what we have just created, teams. So now if I were to compile, I can also click the eye. This is very important, so it will be public. So later on, when we select one from the scene, we can change the team. As you can see, I have a drop down to change the team, and it's just way cooler than just a boolean. Come on, guys. So we can do that also in the blueprint. So basically, what we are going to do is have our game mode decide whether one AI is from one team or another. Okay, I'm gonna do the same with our player. Let's open our third-person character, but our player, we're gonna make it fixed, so it's always in team A, so it's just easier for us to manage. Of course, you can change the team and do a system to change that, but in my case, I can just put the player to be always in team A, okay? And again, we can just put the eye to access it from outside. Now let's go back into the AI, and basically, yeah, our game mode now has to access the team. But first of all, let's control that about the. So I just basically just printed something for my testing, but now it's like it was before. Basically, I have to make sure that this pawn, okay, is from the other team. So what we can do is to not cast and access this, because right now I can just do get team, right? It doesn't exist. But if I were to cast to my third-person character and do now get team, now I can. But of course, this might be any actor at all. It could be the enemy, the player, and we're not gonna be doing 20 casts. So what we can do is do an interface. So just go back into our blueprints folder, right click, go into blueprint, and create a blueprint interface. It's gonna be a BPI, if you know how to type, BPI, and then team interaction. Okay, team interaction, I guess. And we can just name this get team, and this will basically output a team. In this case, this is called this team, and then e_teams. Basically, it will just give us back our team. So now in here, back in the AI, we can, before doing chase target, we can now do a does implement interface and put a branch here to check that it contains that interface, okay? Because imagine it doesn't contain that interface, well, it cannot do anything, right? So if it has that interface, we're gonna do a get team, right? Get team, and this will give us our thing. So what we're going to do is make sure that this is not equal to our current team. So of course, this is right now an index in the team. Okay, so what we can do is just say get, well, sorry, no, that's not one, to int integer byte, and then do like that, and basically that will mean that it's not the same. We can also do like this if you want. Actually, no, that's the same. Sorry about that. Basically, if so, it will be able to attack if they're from different teams. So and if not, it will not do anything. So now in our AI, what we can do is go into class settings, and in inherited interfaces we can add, or implement interface, we can add our BPI team interaction. Now you can see that we have a new drop down with our new get team function. So double click on this, and now in here we can just get our team and output it here, and like so. So now both of these guys are team A, so they should not attack them. As you can see, they're just wandering around, whatever. I don't know why they're doing that S, but whatever. Now if I put one of them to be team B, they now attack each other. So you can see that it is working. Okay, let's put it back to team A just for testing. So our everything basically works. So the only thing that we have to do now is in the player put our interface. So go into class settings, BPI, team interaction, interfaces, get team, just put our team here, and that's it. So that should be the same with that player. Now what we need to do now in the game mode is set that it will randomly assign into one of these guys. So what we can do is use go into the third person blueprints, and we'll see the game mode. Let's open this up and let's full open in the viewport. Let's go ahead and add a begin play, and now what we're going to do is basically get all actors of class. I'm gonna go ahead and get all the AIs that are right now in the scene. We're gonna get the yes, basically gonna do a for each loop, and basically we are okay. Actually, what I want to do is do a get all actors with tag, so we can use different blueprints in the future. So let's say use character, and basically we're gonna go into the AI, go into class defaults, search for tag, and in actor tag, very important, is in the actor level, put character, and this has to be exactly written like that. Okay, let me even copy, and now we're gonna also add it in the third person. Okay, I'm gonna do the same, so it will also pick up that. Let's put our character. So actually, yeah, there you go. Now what we're going to do is a so this is basically an array, right? And I believe that we can get the length, so we can see how many are there. So what we can do is get this and divide this by 2. So basically we'll split both of them, and what we're going to do is now a for loop and go through basically the amount of, this is going to be also the last index, so control there and put a 1 here. So now it will go ahead and pick half of the actors with that tag. So basically we'll be getting all of the players in the game, including the AIs, and then basically just putting half of them on one team and half of them on another team. Okay, so in this case it's basically gonna ahead and run basically as many times as the half of how many ones we had in the game. So now what we can do is just get this and get a copy with that index right now, and we can do a cast. Well, what we can do is actually use our interface again to do the same, but instead of getting the team, set the team. So we can add a new one, new function, set team, and in this case it will be an input with the team. So as you can see, with the enumerator we can do and this stuff we can do a lot of times teams, right? A lot of things. So now we can just do a set team. In this case, because as default all the actors are set to team A, we can put them at team B, so the rest will be already team A. With that, it actually should work. So if I were to press play, that didn't work. Of course, because we didn't implement it. So now we need to go into the AI and do the set team. Open this up, and this will be sort of a function, a custom event, because then this doesn't return anything. And then we're just gonna basically just set this team to be this new one. Okay, we just set it. And the same with the third person character. Double click and set team, and then you just set the team with the new one. And now, there we go. Now there are other teams, and they will pick. And if I were to duplicate this one here, sorry, and this one here, now they're both on both. So everything is working. Great. So now, yes, finally guys, we can go back into our map, which we'll do so, and we can start spawning our enemies AIs. So how am I gonna go into this design? I'm basically just gonna spawn a team of players here, which the players will include you and the AIs, and then also then the team B on there. Okay, that's what I'm gonna do. So let me just go ahead. It's already the placement for the player, so then I can just go into here and start placing all of the AIs here. Let's do, yeah, that's gonna be good. Now let's go here, and now we can put them on here like that. So that should be 5, right? So let's now press play. Why are you shooting? Oh yeah, so probably you saw my player spawn. I don't know why, but they do see my player spawn. Okay, don't know why. So I'm gonna just put a tag, which is player spawn, and I'm just gonna make sure that when we see the enemy, okay, we do another branch before, well, after that, it basically gonna get the tag. The should be the get actor tag. Okay, components by tag. No. Get tags. No, that's not what we want. Well, I can just cast to the player. I know, I can also tag it. Yeah, okay. Oh, because this is a pawn, that's why. Okay, then just forget what I said. Okay, literally forget what I said. I'm just gonna go ahead and have a reference to this and destroyed immediately. Well, actually, I think if I'm hitting game, no, that will not really work. Okay, yes. So let me destroy this once the game starts. Let me just go into the level blueprint, and I select this and just right click and create a reference, and then just destroy this. is weird, but it's what it is. Okay, I don't know what he shoots, but basically we need also basically the nav mesh bounce. So let's add it, very important to our scene. Let's put it in there 0, 0, 0, and let's put it kind of in the middle of our scene here. Put it up and lock it and put it like 20 something, 30, 50. Yeah, we need to go to 50. If I press P, you can see all the paths made. Really cool. Now if I do press play. Alright, so they're shooting each other. So I anticipated this problem. So basically, okay, so you can see the proximity is working. Oh wait, are they shooting across the whole map, or? I don't know. He keeps shooting them. Okay, so I anticipated this problem. Like, oh, look at that. I think wanna okay, so we have two problems right now. The first problem is that because it's random, it might be getting one of these, which are on the side, and you know, the game mode is assigning them in that place. Because they're setting out another team. And the other problem is that they keep shooting once one guy is dead. They don't know that that guy is dead. The first thing I do is check that the guy is dead. So what we can do is go into the AI and let's just basically get this and do a cast to AI, BP AI. In the cast field, we're gonna continue in here, but in the here we're going to do a branch. Okay, and do get is dead, and basically in the false, so it's not dead, it will continue. So now it should stop in theory, and if so, what we're going to do is do the search around. Okay, so that should fix that issue. Once they kill you, they continue attacking. That's cool. Now they're a team against me. You can see my character ragdolling, it's pretty cool. And what I'm going to do right now is actually disable thing of the game modes, and just basically it's going to be team A, and then go into this and then set them to be team B manually. Okay, team B. So now they should be team B. Yes, they're team B. So that should now fix. So now we are all here, and I know what's happening. So the thing of doing this is that they're constantly being resetted with the search around. So this will only need to happen if right now they have seen a target. So they are being wandering with the target. So now that should be fixed. There we go. Then now they're just moving and patrolling. So now, yeah, it's gonna be hard that they see each other, but the other ones will start to walk too. So you can see, I don't know, there's an enemy. Oh no, this is my guy. So we'll add some indicators in a second too. But oh, okay, so I think the nav mesh didn't reach that actually. Let me see. Yeah, there we go. The nav mesh didn't reach the other guys. So let's move it too. Just to make it bigger. Let's put it inside. That should now reach them. So about the game mode, basically if you're gonna make a random spawn point, that will work. But if you're gonna make basically teams by that section, I recommend doing it just manually, honestly. So now both teams will begin to patrol. Shoot. I don't know, the other ones are still there. Yeah, they're walking in a very close area, so maybe I need to increase their walk distance. Basically, they're starting to come, and one actually saw me, and they killed me. Okay, so cool, we're starting to get something. Now let's make their indicator real quick. So let me just get the health bar, duplicate it, and change this to be AI team. All right, let's open this. So we're gonna basically we can have a text. Just drag a text here, the anchor in the middle, 0, 0, and 0.5 and 0.5. And this, for example, will be team A or team B, whatever, and this will be centered. Great. So now back in the AI, we can duplicate this health bar widget and put the team widget. And now change the class to be the team. So now we can increase this and put this 0.2 something, maybe 0.25. That's a bit better. So now basically we have its team, but of course we have to go into the event graph, yes, and then in the event tick, when I also get our team widget and pass it in here, so they will both be looking at the character. And another thing I need to do, of course, is set the team. So what we're going to do is in the begin play, before doing this loop stuff in here, we're gonna be getting our team, and then we need to get the widget class, and then we need to cast to the team widget. And now in here we can get the text, which is we need to put a name, so team text, let's put it. Then very important, it has to be set to its variable so we can use it here. So now if I get the team text, I can now set text. It's gonna be this one. And now I can continue with this, but then in here we're gonna get this, and I believe, I don't know, but what things can I get? No, I cannot get anything. Utilities. Alright, basically if it's, look, by default it's team A, so if it's equal to 1, that will mean that it's team B. And if so, we'll change it, if not, no. So actually what I'm going to do is just make a sequence here, and this will just go into the delay thing. Okay, that will just go into the delay thing as we had it. There we go. And the other thing, okay, will just check, just basically make the branch here if we are team B. If we are team B, okay, we'll change the text to say team B. But if it's team A, because we already have here team A, we don't have to change it, you know? So we can just put here team B. And that should work. Team A, there we go. So cool. And now we go there. I should have given myself more how do you say, health. And now they say team B, as you can see. I need help, guys. So now you can see, oh, look at that. Oh, they're shooting between each other. We need to disable the language code. Wait, are you invisible? Oh, look. Oh, there we go. And of course we need in the player state to check the amount of enemies alive in each side. So let's go ahead and do so. Alright, so let's go into the world settings over here, and let's add the game mode, which is already picked when we press play, the normal one, but we have to add it, so it will be third person game mode. And then we're gonna go into where it says the game state, sorry. So I'm gonna go into game state. Let's press this button, so we'll take us there. Actually we have to create a new one. So let's go into blueprints, right click, blueprint class. Let's go here and search for game state. And you will see that we have game state base. Just basically is selected, and then GS for game state, and then team death match, whatever, right? I mean, deathmatch is what it is right now, team deathmatch. So let's open this up, and we're gonna go into the, basically, first of all, let's replace it with the current one. As you can see, if I now press play, everything will still be how it is, except for the third person character, which oh, it got the other one. So basically, oh, alright, so there are two third person game modes. We need the first one, sorry about that, because one was from a pack, it seems. And let's get this one to be the game state. There we go. And so now is how it is before, but let's open this and let's go to event graph, And basically what to do is have two variables. One for the number of team A alive, and this will be an integer, and then duplicate this one. This will be number of team B alive. Okay, right now it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 5, so basically will be 5 in each side. So we're gonna just put 5 here and 5 here. So basically every time a player like us or an enemy AI dies, we'll go and send a event into the game state to update this. So in here, let's delete the gameplay and let's add a custom event. This will be take one. No, sorry, decrease team number. Okay, so decrease team number. Basically, you're gonna have a branch here with a boolean. In this case, this will be if it's team A or team B. So in this case, if it's team A, we'll get team A, and basically minus minus. This node will just decrement by 1 automatically. It's pretty handy. And if not, it will be team B. So use team B, and then get this and minus minus, and put this here, right? And with that said, that should be great. We should have control of how many team members are alive each time. And I'm going to do is on the branch and check if this number is less or equal than 0. If so, we can print for now that print B has, sorry, print not, team B has 1, and the opposite. Okay, so again, another branch. Is this less than or equal than 0? If so, in this case it's the other way around. Team A has 1. Of course we'll do it properly, not as a sprint, but there we go. So actually we could test this out, but of course we have to call it. So in the BP AI, right, every time that we die some health here, we have to do is get the game state and then cast to the class. In this case is the GS team deathmatch. Just go ahead and plug it there, and then basically call the where's it, the decrease team number was, yeah. And then of course this will depend what team we are, so let's get this and then ask this. So we need to make a branch here. Actually, we can just pass this here. So if it's 0, it's team A, so plug that there. Great. And then of course this will need to be the same with the players. So copy. Now go into the third person character blueprint, and in the death, let's just put that there. And of course, right now, if the player dies, really we should respawn or whatever, but it's okay for now. Just press play. You can see that our enemies go there. They're fighting each other. So, which of course should have the number appear on screen, which we will. But let's try to kill them all. There we go, one dead. Another one dead. One dead. Okay, we need to disable the line traits. I always forget. And also we have to disable the team when they die. Okay. Come on. Okay, I think there's only one left. Where's my team? They're not helping me. Team, what team are you? Team B! Oh no, team A. I can actually kill my own teammates. Where is the other guy? Let's do cheating. Oh wait, is that guy? Probably is that guy, no? Are you team B, team A? What are you? Yeah, team B. Oh please, no. Alright. Team A has won. Do you see that? It was there. Team A has won. Alright, it's working. Let's quickly just make the UI to showcase this. We'll basically just use the HUD, and we'll just go ahead and place two texts here. So this will be the first text, and this will be Team A, and then the amount of people you have. So Team A text, and then duplicate this team B text, and this will be the same but with team B, and we have to make both is variable. So now every time the game state, we will just update this. So in the false, we're just gonna go ahead and cast to the third person character. There we go. Are there two third person characters? Not. Wow, there are two third person characters. One is not. Oh, it's always the BP, no? We're using the BP. Oh, we have to be careful with that, guys. We have to be careful. It has to be the one which says BP. Wow, I didn't see that. Be careful with that. So get player character, okay? Actually, what we're going to do is quickly. I think it was installed as ibjet or not. Let's see. Third person. This is my one. This is the other one. So this is the imposter. Let's put not underscore third person character. So we know that that is not the third person character. All right. Back in our game state, we have that. And basically, we were going to. What we're going to do? I literally just forgot. What we're going to do. Oh yeah, update that. So we need to get the HUD, which of course we don't have it saved. So we have to go up here, and basically after we create it, right click, promote it. So it will be the HUD widget. And now that there, plug that there, plug that there. So now it's basically it's saved in a variable. So in here we can now get the HUD as a variable, and then also get the team, and in this case it will be team A. And you know what I'm going to do is create a custom event which will be just update widget, and we'll just call it and update both at the same time. So it's basically saving us a bit more time. So let me just put it right over here. All right, and then you set text, and there's a way of doing so that we can merge team A with our value. So we can use this no, it was format text. So here we can put team A 2 points, and then the squiggly black bracket, and then value, then again a squiggly bracket. So now you can see that what is inside that we can have it as a value, and we can just put team A alive. And the same with the other one. So we can get team B text, and then we can just copy this, basically paste it here, plug that there, and then this will be team B. And of course make sure that you change it to the team B value. Okay, very important. And with that we can just call it in the false to update widget in both cases. And with that you can see that they're here, team A, team B. And oh, okay, oh, there are 5. And of course we need to do this at the begin play too, because we need to set the initial values, because if not, at the beginning we will not be seeing the values. So now you can see we have, alright, that didn't work. Oh, it did give us an error. Is it because of the player character? Maybe we have to do the delay. Probably is that, no? Yeah, basically we had to wait a bit because the blueprint didn't create, so the game state will always spawn firstly. Alright, so now if I were to begin to kill the other teams, now you can see team B. Wait, that did I? Oh, okay, so we have to make one thing that I just realized, and is that we only can die once. So make sure that after the print, actually even before the print, make a do once, because if not, and the same with the third person, because now we can keep killing our own selves, and we don't want that. So we want a do once right over here. We can use the is the variable to check, but it's simpler to just do a do once if we just make sure that that's done. So now if we were to test that out, I mean, if I were to kill my own teammates, right, which is very bad, but you can see team A now decreases by 1 only. If I start to attack him more, it doesn't decrease. So that's basically went ahead and saved. Now let's go ahead and see if we can find the other enemies. Maybe I need to put them more out because they're like in their own cave there. And go, run. All right. A thing that I have noticed, okay, guys, with the shooting is that for the enemies is okay, but for me, a lot of the times the bullets will not really go where they're supposed to, okay? And the first thing I'm to do is do the same change of the sphere trace by channel. So let's copy that from the AI. Let's go to third person, and basically where was it here? You space this and replace it. So hold control, hold control, hold control, and then hold control and hold control. And now it should be a bit better, okay? It should catch the enemies a bit better. So let's see if that's a bit better. And if not, what we can do is just spawn directly the trace from the camera always, and not from the gun. Wow, that's way better, as you can see. Yeah, let's see. Let's play a bit more. Yeah, it's better. I like that. Okay. So let's go into the AI. Get the photo duration to none and third person to none. So there we go. We can close all that. Great. So let's do the final thing of the widget of who won. So quickly just go into here. We're pretty much finishing the course, okay? Don't worry about that. The tutorial course, which is literally on one video. This is crazy. I'm going crazy doing this, but it's what it is, you know. I want to help you guys out. Totally free on YouTube. This is crazy. And this will be winner, well, team winner, yeah, but that's it. Let's open this. We can go to canvas and just drag it here, and we are just literally for now just gonna get a text and just put it a bit bigger. So the font, we can make it like that, maybe 80. Center this, put this in the center, X and Y, and then 0.5 and 0.5. And with that is here, so we can just change it to be team something won, and we'll change it depending on who actually won. So this should be winner text, and it should be a variable, okay? And this basically this widget should create when that happens. So let's go again into the game state. Let's open this up. Again, important delay, so it in the gameplay. Basically here, instead of now printing from the true, we can just say create widget. In this case, it will be our team winner, and then what to do is get the team winner text, and then go and set text. In this case is this one here. For the first output, it is for team A, so it will be that team B won because team A died. Then very important, remember to add it into the viewport, if not it will not be in the screen. Let's basically just copy, paste this, plug it in through here, and change it to be team A won. With that, it should be good. So I'm gonna kill all my team members. It might sound bad, but I want to try this out. So there's only 2 left. Come here. It's so weird. I'm killing my own team members. This is my team member. Yeah. There's only 1 left. Where are you? Well, I'm crazy. Where is this? Where's the other guy? Guys, I am stupid. I am the left one on team A. I am... Okay. That was humiliating. Let me just die. There you go. Team B won. Everything works. Now, an extra thing I have to do is to set game pause to be true, because it's nice to pause the game. With that said, we already have a lot of things on our game. I'm not gonna lie. This is so cool, like, for real. Let's try to kill the other team members. I'm gonna die. Why have the health so low? Like, I always forget to... Alright, there's one left. And of course you can change the... Is this not teammate, no? You can change the... Oh, they're killing them. Oh, what's that? Oh no, Team B. Team A won. Oh, okay, but the pause doesn't look very good actually. Yeah, no, we'll get rid of that pause. Of course, we can change the velocity at which we walk. We got, you know, more animations and so on. So you can do so many stuff that you want. Alright, so we're gonna do the last final touches for this massive tutorial that pretty much is like a full masterclass or course, however you want to call it. But basically we're gonna be adding some kind of obstacles in between the paths, so it's a bit nicer, so you can kind of get covered and stuff. Nothing crazy, already the level is so good, but basically some boxes around here. Then what we're going to do is basically change the team color. So basically team A will be blue and team B red, so we can distinguish, because you know, sometimes it's a bit hard to read with the light and so on. And finally we're gonna be adding some more sounds, in this case basically a desert ambience, and then some kind of combat music for, you know, the match or whatever. So let's get started. So let's begin by just adding some of the boxes over here so we can cover, basically some cover. So let's go into the stylized Egypt folder. I'm gonna go into the meshes, and I'm gonna go into props. I'm basically gonna be using one of these boxes so we can start drawing them. As you can see, the size is already pretty damn good, not gonna lie. And then also we can add this one, and then just rotate it, put it around here, right, and basically like that. Honestly, I don't know why that lower screen glows. I'm not gonna lie, I have no idea why that happens. I believe it might be because something of the 5.2, because literally it only happens when 5.2, but whatever. So you can see basically just adding some boxes like that, nothing crazy, to just get some cover and so on. We can do the same here. For example, we can just put some like this around here. There we go. And one here. And just rotate it like that. Then we can go around here and put, for example, around here too. Just drag it, put it like this. Then this one here, rotate it, and then this one here, rotate it. So basically, we can kind of get cover here, and then also maybe in this kind of corner, you can sneak peek. Really, it's really annoying the glowing in the screen. It's kind of like bugged. I don't know why, but whatever, right? Like that's okay. And maybe we can add some in the interior. Okay, so, for example, right over here in the back. Okay, so they can kind of cover, well, or you can cover, of course. So if we go, we can just drag it and put it over here like that. And I think that's pretty good. Nothing from the other world. It's just basically just adding some more kind of covers. You can go over here and shoot and so on. You know what I mean? It has a bit to level. You can add more. Okay. But let's go and change now the team color. So what we're going to do is do it when we assign the teams, right? In this case, what we're going to do is just open the AI. All right, so go ahead and Ctrl E to open this up, and as you can see, in the begin play, we get the team widget, and if so, we do it like that. So first of all, let's just open the it will be AI team, all right, and select it. And let's make in the appearance the color by opacity by default to be blue. Okay, so by default it will be blue. Let's make it a bit bigger, so maybe 27, and then that will allow us to go into the stroke brush. So stroke brush, no, where is it? Outline here, and then add some outline. So for example, we can add 3 of outline. Okay, we can change the color to be like a darker blue. Okay, and that will just make it a bit better. So there we go. We have team A over here. You can see that's way nicer. I can identify my teammates way easier. And then let's do it, but of course for the team B. So to change now the team B color. Let's open the BP AI, and let's go here into their begin play. When we set the text, let's now get the text, and we can go and set the color and opacity. In here, let's put this here, and let's do a make slate color. Now we can put the color. In this case, will be kind of reddish. Okay, so you can play with those settings as you want. Let's see that will apply. So what I'm going to do is just put real quick current camera location, so I can go into their point and just press play to see if they will change. There we go. You can see the color changes, but they still have the blue outline, which doesn't look really nice, honestly. So what we can do is now get the text and do a set font. Okay. In here, what we can do is now do the same of make font info. The font family will be Roberto, and the bold typeface will be bold. The font family, we're gonna leave it empty. Now in outline settings, let's go ahead and make some settings. In this case, the font size was 4, I believe so. It was for the outline, so it was 3. And then we can expand this and just put the color. In this case, it's a darker red, honestly. We'll see if that looks good. And then the size was 27. Yeah, 27 was. So now that should resolve the issue. So let's press play, and there we go. Now they have the outline and their appropriate color. So that is great. So now we can go ahead and continue on with our sounds. Let me close this, and let's do so. Alright, so I have my basically my sounds here. I'll leave them in the description as always. So we'll have a desert ambience and a battle music loop, as I mentioned before. So let me just go ahead and grab them and drag them into the audio folder. There we go. So now we need to open both, okay? In this case, first of all, the desert ambience loop. And we have to make sure that looping is set to true. Save it. And now let's do the same with the battle music loop. Go ahead and put it as looping. Alright, so good. Now, what we can do is, for example, open the game mode and play from the game mode. Or from the level. You decide. Actually, you know what? Let's do it from the level, because maybe you want to have different levels with different themes. And maybe a desert sound playing in a, in a forest wouldn't be a great idea. So what we can do is just click this button here and open the level blueprint. As you can see, we already used this to destroy the player start. For some reason, the enemies attack the player start, so you get the idea. But what we're going to do now is just play sound 2D. In this case, let's do first of all the desert ambience loop. Now, right now, if I press play, you can already hear it. It's not super noticeable, but it is good. Maybe in recording is even less noticeable because I have it lower than my mic, but it actually sounds pretty good. Now let's go ahead and copy and paste this, and now the battle music loop. Now maybe this is too high at the start, so let me put this to 0.5, so it's half the volume. Let's see. That's even too much. Let's put 0.2 maybe. Let's see, that's a bit better. That's too much again. 0.1. I'm literally just... That's perfect. I mean, maybe it's a bit better to have it a bit, maybe the desert ambience 1.2, and this like 0.18. Maybe increase a bit so they both. That's a bit better. You can play with the sounds as you like, okay? So I will go ahead and leave them like this. Now the last thing we're gonna do real quick is just go ahead and get rid of the print messages. So let me just enter in the AI. So you select the AI, Control E to open the blueprint. We can now go into his health and just get rid of the die print and also of the damage print. That will just make it way cleaner. And I think that we don't have any more print messages here. Now it will be in the third person. I believe we have also in health, maybe. Let's quickly check that out. Alright, actually no, we don't have any more prints. That should be good. But I think we have in the game state, if I'm not mistaken. Let's check real quick. Game state, search it, open this up, and no, we actually got rid of all the prints actually. So there we go, great. So that should be now clean. And now, yes, the last thing that I actually forgot is to disable the team text when the enemy dies. So in the BPAI, the enemy, when we also disable the the health bar, let's also get the team widget and just anchor it on here, and that should be it. So that's the whole tutorial. If you found it helpful, I would really appreciate you could like the video and subscribe to my channel. I have lots of Unreal Engine 5 tutorials and videos, so check them out. Join my Discord server with a community of more than 2,000 game developers, and follow me on all my socials. As I'm publishing this video tomorrow, I'm doing a giveaway, so make sure to participate. And now, yes, with all I said, bye bye.